little opening bit, and then I'll introduce you guys as we go. Ooh, we're live. I'm very excited for this stream. Here we go. Well, greetings, imagination connoisseurs. Once again, it is I, your Duke of Dope Discourse, and your master of fun and wonder. And for that, I can't wait to dive into this show. My God, once again, I have first with me Az, heel versus babyface himself. He is here for, this is our fourth show. Az, it's great to have you all the way from, where are you, sir?
I'm in the United States of Europa's in sunny Yorkshire, where it's pitch black, and I actually think there's a full moon outside. On thereabouts I can see out my window. And yeah, this is I'm very excited for this one. I mean, we thought we were going to get one stream out of this,
Right.
or maybe two. Well, we did think it was one, because afterwards then we said, hey, should we do one on your channel next week? And here we are on the fourth one, and this is the one I've been waiting for, because we have the man I love to hate, and it's just born out of nothing but jealousy. That's it. It's just every time I watch his videos, I die inside, but I get happy at the same time.
Well, without further ado, I too, I have to say that for me, this is a real thrill. I never thought I would live in a world where there are YouTubers that I worship, that are celebrities, and this man, I have to say, I, like Az, am extremely jealous. But this is a man that on almost a weekly basis now, which is both good and bad. It's bad for my bank account, but it's good for my soul. If you haven't been to his YouTube channel, Justin's Collection, if you like Hot Toys figures, which are basically the Tiffany, they're the Ferrari, the Lamborghini, the Koenigsegg of action figures. If you haven't gone to his channel, I mean, whenever he puts up a collection video, it's a must watch, and he does weekly reviews. Sometimes he does 3 or 4 weekly reviews of new, as he says, new figures. And without further ado, let me introduce, and it is my great honor to introduce Justin from Justin's Collection, all the way from Melbourne, Australia. Justin, it is a great honor to have you here on Fully Articulated. And wow, what an amazing confab this is. So welcome.
A huge thank you to you guys for having me on. I was literally getting sent the link to the previous show. They're like, hey, these guys are talking about you. And I was like, oh, okay. So then I just watched that first clip, and then I watched the entire thing, and I was like, hey, these guys are chatting figures. I'd love to get in on that. So huge thank you to you guys for inviting me on. Hopefully we'll get some good figure talk in here.
Well, I think, to start with, I'd be curious, how did you get into your I'm sure you've answered this before, but how did you get into figure collecting, and what drew you, of course, to Hot Toys? Has it been a lifelong thing for you, or is it fairly new? And what was your first hot toy figure?
That's a good question. I get asked that one fairly regularly, but it's an interesting one because people think, oh, it must have been some, amazing, awesome thing, and then that's why you got hooked. But it really wasn't. It was a really crappy, used off eBay, $200 Iron Man plastic Mark III with the faded mid-torso, no accessories, no box. But I was in high school, and that was all I could afford. And I was working at a car wash. That was my part-time job, like 6 o'clock in the morning, washing cars. And I'd seen online, out of Hong Kong, these Hot Toys things. I was like, damn, I need one of those. And eventually I saved up when I picked up that Mark III, and that was that. I was hooked. But because of the situation, still in high school, I couldn't afford any more. But in the back of my mind, I was like, hey, one day I'm going to get more of these. And then I met my girlfriend at the time, now lovely wife, and she was like, hey, I'm going to buy you this Man of Steel 12-inch thing. And I hadn't spoken to her about Hot Toys. I hadn't really collected anything. And she bought it for me. And then I was like, oh, that's right. I said I was going to get.
Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Oh. He'll come back. Oh. We'll get him back.
I ripped his cables out. I got so jealous. I got so mad.
Hang on, he's back. Hang on. Here we go.
Sorry, technical difficulties. My for some reason it says there was a problem and your page was reloaded. Huge thank you to Apple for the technical difficulty.
I mean, you are in Australia. I mean, we truly are. I have to say, this is truly a global confab here with the three of us. It's, I mean, God bless the modern era that we live in. Not only can we use it to order toys from all over the world, but we can talk to each other all around the world. So it's pretty great. So you were saying about your girlfriend. So she's an enabler. Your girlfriend is like, an enabler.
Oh, big time. We literally had a conversation recently because I keep buying random stuff. So say there's no Hot Toys release for like, I don't know, 2 weeks something. And being the collecting addicts that we sometimes can be, I need something. So I'll be scoping around for something and I'll pick up something stupid like this Lego Slave 1, for instance, the UCS one. I had to have it.
That's not.
Oh, you shut your mouth. That's not stupid.
Yeah.
I'm glad you agree with me, but afterwards, and I built it, and I was like, "Wow, this thing is gorgeous. You really should have stopped me." And she's like, "Well, that's not my job. If you want someone to stop you, you have to ask someone else. Because I like it. Like I'm gonna enable you. Hey, the little Grogu. I'm tempted to pick that up. I'm tempted.
That was a Christmas present. That was a Christmas present to me.
Oh, I'm very tempted to pick that up.
Well, aside from Lego and figures, are there any other like I've got subsets of things I collect, and I don't really buy them anymore because they're hideously expensive as opposed to Hot Toys figures, which are. But I love die-cast Gundam toys, like the metal, the fixed figuration stuff, but mostly the metal build Gundams. And if you don't pick one up, the secondary they go up in price more than Hot Toys figures do. But I love them. It's just like, is there anything weird that you collect that isn't like Lego and toys? Is there something else too?
Not really. Aside from like most of the stuff that I collect is toy related. I'll get stuff that is related to that. Like, say for instance, I've recently started collecting the art of books.
Right.
So I just got the Mandalorian one for Christmas, and I'm like, hey, I think I need more of these. So then I've just gone and ordered, of course, another one from I'm pretty sure it was Civil War, because it's got the concept art that the figures were based off, the concept art cap and the concept art Mark 46. So I was like, oh, well, maybe I could have them displayed with the book or something. The crazy rationale that us collectors tend to have behind buying these superfluous additional pieces. But yeah, most of it is toys, and some I won't even cover on the channel. Like I collect Masterpiece Transformers from G1, and I'm
so does Ass.
Well, I do the fans toys. I go with the fans toys.
Very good choice.
Yeah,
I'll get a couple of those.
Right here. Right next to me.
Oh, Galvatron,
the Sovereign.
Is that the re-release or the original?
This is the re-release.
Ah, very good.
This is the Sovereign re-release, and it's just a thing of beauty.
I'm thinking about picking him up. We shall see.
He's heavy. He's beautiful. I've been posing. Look, I've got the Transformer. Last week we did a bit of a fans toys thing, and I showed off my Galvatron Coupler Hot Rod, and I can't get rid of them from next to me because I keep posing them in different poses, and I keep playing with the poses on them and the look, and it's just they're phenomenal. They really are phenomenal. Nearly picked up an RC.
I just ordered RC actually. I just ordered RC.
Did you? I nearly picked one up yesterday. Actually, I was just like, I'll think about it, which means I'll give it 2 days and then I'll pull the trigger.
And then you'll pick it up. It's one of those like things in the back of your mind. Like I knew RC was coming out, and I'm like, oh Jesus, I just picked up this 40th anniversary Boba Fett and all this other stuff, and I'm like, I'm not going to review it, so I know that I'm not going to make a return on it, but it's fine. I need it, so I'll just go on eBay and get it. And then SH Figure Arts, I buy Dragon Ball figures, and I ordered the Jace or Jace, I don't even know how they say it, that just came out as well. I had to order him.
Yeah.
So, there are a lot of subsets that you can just fall into. It's a trap.
I love that pose.
That is a badass pose. That is a
That is
badass
the
pose.
I need to change the pose of my blur now, having seen that. That's a dope
Yeah.
pose.
Is it dope? Right? Is that a dope action?
Oh,
I love the fact that we grown men are like, wow, what a pose you've got there.
I know,
That's
yeah,
fantastic.
Yeah. Like, got the leg right high, then got that one tucked away nicely, and then the sniper rifle using with blur, make him have a bit of a sniper one this time.
Well, Justin,
that gun is the one from the G1 movie, so it makes sense.
Yes. Yes.
the you know, one of the things that we've seen the rise of the 12th scale figure, and I got back into collecting. I started collecting 12-inch figures again when they started releasing Star Wars figures. Hasbro released in the late 90s. You know, 20 years ago, and then that led to me going like Dragon military figures. Sometimes Dragon would release, like they did an Enemy at the Gates 2-pack with like Jude Law from the movie Enemy at the Gates, and then of course the first, they did Dragon did that.
Who was the second?
It was it's Jude Law and the other guy. I think it's a Christian Bale. Who was in? I don't remember who was in Enemy at the Gates with Jude Law, but
It was Ron Perlman was his mentor, wasn't it?
something like that. Here, wait, let's see. But anyway, what I was going to say is that and then they did like the Dirty Dozen, but they weren't licensed, but you could tell they were making those military figures from, and it sort of led me, and then the guy who started Sideshow, this guy Tom, used to work at a store called Kitcraft here in LA. And he would paint garage kits, like resin garage kits and he was a master painter. I mean, I would go to Kitcraft just to see because there was a lot of those vinyl kits, like Horizon would make like Hellraiser and the different monsters. And when Sideshow, he was a founder of Sideshow, and they made like the Universal Monsters were some of their first figures, and then they moved on to licenses like Buffy the Vampire Slayer, and they got James Bond, and I really started to buy almost anything that Sideshow was putting out that was film related, because they had the Planet of the Apes license, you know, and so I got into 6 scale, and I haven't really looked back. My first Hot Toys figure was the George Lucas, the director, when they didn't have, and then in the mid-aughts they put out the action figure kits of the Predator and the Alien, and then they did the Aliens Marines, the Colonial Marines, but they didn't have the likeness rights for those actors. So when they put stuff out, and same with when they did the Alien figures, the space suited, the Hot Toys. So I should have brought those. I just was just playing with those over there, and then of course with the Star Wars Black figures, the 12th scale size became popular, and now MAFX, or what is it, MAFX, and then there's Figure Arts and 112, the Mezco line. How do you feel about, like, if I were to go back, and I like the 12th scale figures, but it would be a nightmare to go back, and I don't think you get nearly as much figure for the money. Those figures are really expensive compared to Hot Toys. How do you feel about 12th scale? I guess that was my long roundabout way to ask you this question.
I mean, it's an interesting question. Up until recently, I didn't really collect the 112 stuff. Like, it was just a nice bonus on the side. Say, for instance, I'm waiting for Hot Toys Mando, but Black Series Mando is at my local Target, and I can go pick him up, and it's a Mando, and I can pose him, and even if I do have the Hot Toys one, I don't want to mess around with him. Like, I want to put him in a pose and just have him there. So that was kind of how I was doing it. But then, because I work with Toys Wonderland to obviously promote their site, and I also buy everything from them, I get a bit of a discount. So they said, hey, we're starting to work with Bandai. Would you like to start reviewing Figuarts? And I was like, I guess so. I mean, what's the harm, right? So I started reviewing. I started with 89 Batman, and it wasn't perfect, but it was pretty good.
Right.
And it's a small scale, so again, I can mess around with it. And let's be honest, it can do poses that the Hot Toys one just can't do, because it's a full rubber suit. So I was like, okay. And then I've been sort of picking up every release. Like, I've got the bro version of Endgame Thor and Armored Thanos sitting on my desk waiting to be reviewed. So, I mean, it's a hard thing to say that I recommend it over a Hot Toys piece. I would absolutely, if you're thinking about picking up 3 Figure Arts releases or 1 Hot Toys figure, I would say go for the Hot Toys figure every time. You're going to get far more bang for your buck. The detail, sometimes it comes with even more accessories than Figure Arts. I would say go for that because you're going to be happier, especially in the long run. But I mean, I couldn't really argue if you said I wanted to pick up the Figure Arts as well because they're just a lot of fun and they're smaller, so you can just mess around with them.
I first got into them because of their Godzilla line, their kaiju line, and I would buy more. Az will come back. I would buy more, but there was just too many of them. So I have like my favorite monsters, but then too many to deal with. So do you have like
the thing with the smaller scale? There's just so many.
Yeah. Now, do you collect, like, obviously Star Wars and Marvel is where Hot Toys has gone. I mean, I used to love I love their Vito Corleone from The Godfather. I love The Crow. I love their RoboCop line. And it seems to me, obviously, that they didn't sell. I mean, they don't sell nearly as much. And even when they did things like The Watchmen, they put out Silk Spectre and The Comedian, and then they stopped. So it's incredibly frustrating to do that. Do you mostly like to collect just Star Wars and Marvel and DC, or do you prefer to just specialize in 1 or 2 things, or would you want more?
I mean, I would pick up anything that they make, and I've been trying to pick up the back catalog of all the stuff that they've already produced. But you're right, they've gotten a lot less adventurous, let's say. So back in the day, they would produce Predator and Terminator and random other movie licenses that you just expect, like, oh, a new big blockbuster movie's coming out. Oh, okay, you can get a Hot Toys release from that. It just makes sense. But now you're mostly finding that you'll see a lot of Star Wars and a lot of Marvel, a little bit of DC. They often don't complete the lines with DC, and I can understand why they don't sell as well. But I think the reason why is because of, especially in Hong Kong, they've said a couple of times, like even publicly, we don't really market at all. We just base our product line on our local market, which is Hong Kong. And I guess that kind of makes sense. That's where they're mainly producing their figures. But, I mean, they're also like a global brand now, so I don't know if that's necessarily the best way to do it. But in Hong Kong, Star Wars doesn't sell at all, which is quite surprising. And Marvel is really, really, really popular.
Yeah.
But the CEO of Hot Toys, Howard Chan, is obsessed with Star Wars. He grew up watching Star Wars. He said he's got a secret base, which is their flagship store in Hong Kong, secret base size room full of vintage Star Wars toys. Like, that's how obsessive he is with Star Wars toys. So that's why, thank goodness he is, because that's why we're actually getting Star Wars figures from Hot Toys. Otherwise, like, the license isn't popular over there. We wouldn't be getting them at all. But as for other movies, like, I'm still surprised that they announced the Neo from The Matrix. That one didn't sell barely at all in Hong Kong. The Back to the Future line, they didn't really sell that well either. Alita Battle Angel, I love that figure. It's amazing.
Yeah, I haven't. I was going to get that.
It's a tough one. I think now they're focusing on that old toy industry term, toyetic. Like, something would look really cool in 1/6 scale, like a Joaquin Phoenix Joker, for instance. It would look amazing and the detail would be fantastic, but is it as toyetic as a Iron Man Mark 85? No. And I think that's why.
Well, so for the viewers at home, can you explain what toyetic means? Oh, wait. Hang on, let me bring back Az.
Toy01. I love that figure.
So, yeah, like, tell us, for the viewers at home, tell us what the concept of toyetic actually is.
I think it's hard to describe exactly, but I'll try my best. So, say for instance, you're watching an episode of The Mandalorian, and if you can imagine yourself with a 6 scale or 1/12 scale version of that character, it's just, oh, that is so cool. I would love to have that in figure format. It's got the stuff. It's got the special stuff that's toyetic. It's just, you need to have it, you need to mess around with it, you want to pose it. Whereas, say, for instance, you'll watch a really good, well put together awards film, and it's got, I don't know, let's say, for instance, it's got Leo in it, and he's wearing a really nice tuxedo. That doesn't really elicit the same reaction. Say, I really need to have that and play around with it, and I can imagine the accessories that it comes with, and it would be really cool to have a figure of that, you know, to play with. It would be an absolutely amazing display piece, and we would probably pick it up. But
yes, we would.
The 99% of people who are in it for, you know, the superheroes and the posing and the accessories and all that, it wouldn't elicit the same responses as an Iron Man or a Superman or a Spider-Man, and that's the key. That's the toyetic side of things.
Right.
And
Now,
Star Wars is very toyetic.
Absolutely.
Yes. It was designed to be, though. That was the point.
Yes.
Lucas very much made it designed to be. So yeah.
But then I have to say, for like the Batman line, the Dark Knight Rises line, I like getting. I have two action figure fetishes. I like action figures that have chairs for whatever reason. I don't know, anything that has a chair, and I like action figures in civilian clothes. And so Hot Toys for the Batman Dark Knight Rises, they made the 2-pack with Commissioner Gordon and Bruce Wayne in beautifully tailored clothes. Then they did John Blake and Gary Oldman. They did Commissioner Gordon. And they would the Batman, I did buy the deluxe armory, you know, the armory with the two, which is dope. I mean, talk about accessories. That's amazing. And then the John Blake. Yeah, they never made the Alfred figure is so good, but then they never made. You've got Captain America and Tony Stark like in civilian outfits, which is fun because I can have them play my 6-scale Tempest or Centipede video games. You know, if you want to do that. But why? I mean, did those sell? Do they? I mean. It's so weird that they made those figures to me, that they made civilian clothing, because those aren't toyetic, are they?
No, not really, no. Most of the time you'll find those ones will be Toy Fair exclusive. So Commissioner Gordon, for instance, he was a Toy Fair exclusive. I'm pretty sure the Arc Reactor creation set Tony, which is just him in a black polo, I'm pretty sure he was either an exclusive or a Toy Fair exclusive.
I have that figure.
I love that figure. Most of the time, that's their way of getting around it. Cap, the Steve Rogers, came in a 2-pack with Stealth Suit Cap. So they can kind of sneak them in every now and then. But in the last, I don't know, 2-3 years, we haven't really, I'm sort of just scoping around, trying to make sure that I'm not lying. We haven't really gotten anything civilian related, and there's nothing on the horizon either. Like, I would love a 2-pack of Far From Home upgraded suit Spidey and a Peter Parker figure. I would love that. But they have decided in their infinite wisdom that it's not worth their time, I guess.
Well, yeah, I guess, I mean, their sales figures aren't going to lie. It's frustrating. So let me ask you this. You know, going to the San Diego Comic-Con, which you've been to, one of the first destinations on the floor to me is the Sideshow booth, because they're the North American distributor for Hot Toys, and they have all the next Hot Toys coming out, and they have teased us a lot.
So many times.
I mean, the Millennium Falcon cockpit, the 66 Batmobile, the Justice League Batmobile from Batman v Superman, or the Batman v Superman the Justice Mobile, the Jedi Starfighter, which maybe will come out, I don't know. But so they I know it's not so
waiting for you. Where are you?
Why do they do this? Why do I feel like they're tempting me, or they're and I'm like, why? It's terrible. It's like dangling a carrot in front of a donkey, and you're never gonna let the donkey eat that carrot. Why do they do this to us?
They do it for two reasons. This is just, I should have, because I saw Howard Chan. He was actually, when I was in Hong Kong, on my live stream. I should ask him a bunch of questions, but I was so shocked to see him in person. I didn't ask him anything, but maybe next year when they have the Hong Kong show, I'll ask him some questions. But I think that they do it for two reasons. The first one is, if you think of a toy show as like a car show, for instance, you'll go to a car show and they'll have big brands, but they'll bring their amazing concept cars, and there'll be these beautiful, intricate, well-designed things, but you'll never see them on the road. But you may get something close, or you may get something entirely different, but you'll never see that particular one on the road. I think they do it as like a shock value, like, oh my goodness, there's a 1/6 scale and it can Starfighter. That's amazing. So I think that's one of the reasons. And another one is, honestly, I don't think they're making them. I think it's another company that are making those bigger scale things like the Batmobile and the Jedi Starfighter. That Starfighter was actually, when I saw it at San Diego, it was actually, I think, made out of foam. It was cracking. If you looked underneath, it was all cracking and it was struggling to stay together. I don't think that it's like a proper sturdy thing. I think it's literally some hodgepodge thing that someone put together just for display only. But they made that full 1/6 scale Millennium Falcon that one time, and that thing was enormous.
It was amazing. I don't think it ever made it stateside though. I don't know if ever, because I wanted to see that in person.
I would kick my grandma out of her room. Put it in.
That thing would have been car size, I reckon. Absolutely enormous. I don't know if they keep it or destroy it, because in Hong Kong, real estate is super expensive. Like, you'd be lucky if you're living in anything bigger than a shoebox. That's how expensive real estate is there. So I don't know if they keep it or destroy it. But for the vehicles and stuff, they just don't make the big vehicles anymore because they don't sell. People don't have the room, especially in Hong Kong, to buy them. I was speaking to a mate of mine. His name's Budget Stark. He was a YouTuber out of Hong Kong.
Before I knew you, I would salivate over Budget Stark's videos. I always wanted to contact him because he was always like, if you want somebody to get you a figure or something, I never contacted him. But Budget Stark, he's sort of the precursor to you. So I now think of it,
if you will.
The two of you are like, he's like the Justice Society and you're the Justice League, and the fact that you know each other and could team up just blows my mind.
Yeah, we just did a huge live stream online only collector-con recently, and he featured in that. He came out of retirement for that one thing only. But yeah, we've had lunch and stuff in Hong Kong before, and I completely forgot when I was going with that. But he basically has said that when he's gone to stores in Hong Kong, he'll see people, because they're basically just small stores. Sometimes the stores in Hong Kong will also be that person's personal display, but they'll just, because they don't have space in their house, they will have the Batmobile, the 89 Batmobile, as a literal table, like in the shipper box and everything, in the middle of the store, because number one, they can't sell them, and number two, it's so big that they can't do anything else with it. So that's why they don't want to make these big vehicles. Howard Chan has said a couple of times, the number one thing he doesn't want for Hot Toys products is for them to be discounted or just sitting on shelves. Because most of the stuff in Secret Base, like you'll go in there, obviously long since sold out. But up until last year, you could still buy an 89 Batmobile in Secret Base, which is unheard of. Yeah.
I love my 89 Batmobile.
I love it too. It's beautiful.
Do you think somebody's also got to do with essentially to do with pre-order? Because where now they have the wait list, so you put your RSVP. If you're interested in the product, they're obviously going to get a hit. How many people are RSVPing to this product? They're going to get an idea of the conversion rates of those to pre-orders, etc. Because I recently had a Batman the Animated Series Catwoman statue on pre-order, and then I got an email saying, sorry, we just didn't get enough pre-orders to make this product, so we're actually canceling the product. We're going to refund you your deposit. So do you think it's really they're going to see how many potential pre-orders they're going to get on these items and whether or not it's going to be cost effective, sort of like a HasLabs-esque type of deal without committing, saying if we can get 10,000 people to RSVP, it's going to be worth our while, saying, okay, now we're going to put it up for pre-order, see the conversion rates, boom.
I think, honestly, they've got, I know they have a long-standing relationship with Sideshow. So no matter what they produce, Sideshow will purchase X number of each item. So it should be still, even if they don't sell a lot in Hong Kong, it should still be worth their while to produce something. But then the issue is sometimes Sideshow is sitting on whatever they've ordered in mass quantities because nobody wants it. Because in Hong Kong, the pre-orders work super differently. They're really weird. You have to go in person to Secret Base to pre-order, and you have to line up. There's no online ordering at all. Yeah, you have to physically go, and you have to sign the slip, wait for hours and hours to put your pre-order in for this thing. Then you get a slip, and then that slip number will determine when you get yours. They send out text messages and say, hey, if you're between this number and this number, you can pick it up on this day. So then you'll go and you'll pick it up. But it's not like how it is for us. It's not as easy. So I think when Sideshow purchases in bulk, they offset that potentially lower turnout in person. A good one that I was telling Rob is the patrol trooper from Solo. They only made 200 for Hong Kong. All the rest were sent to the States. That is so tiny that thank goodness Sideshow was purchasing the rest of them, because otherwise we'd never have had it.
Yeah.
Well, and another thing I'm always curious is the length of time. They've fast-tracked these Mandalorian figures, Yes, but if you look at something like if you want to get Moff Gideon, that figure's a 2022 release. So, I don't understand. I mean, obviously it takes a while to develop, to prototype, to get these things out, but why does it take Hot Toys so long to get these figures out and bring them to market? Whereas they could turn around and do, like they did the Mandalorian, the pre-Beskar Mandalorian came out already, and then they fast-tracked the child with the full. I actually pre-ordered that first Mandalorian, but then when I saw that you had the full Beskar armor with the child, I'm like, oh well, I canceled my initial. Oh yeah,
I don't know if you can see him, but he's tucked back there. I'll get him out. I'll get him out later, and we can discuss.
But I mean,
I had to have both. I had to have pre-Beskar and Beskar. So
yeah, you already have your pre-Beskar, right? See,
I've already got my pre-Beskar. Yeah,
I used to do that, but why does it take so long?
I think it depends. But it's so weird because I don't really have a blanket statement as to why. Because then we get figures like D23 Cap, which is Avengers Endgame Cap that released like a year or so ago, like way before the original one. So they can clearly do it, but the question is, why don't they? It's so bizarre to me. I don't know why they need a 12-month to 18-month to now almost 24-month lead time before producing stuff when they can clearly rush stuff out like Mando and D23 Cap. I think that it's perhaps because the longer they wait, the more the hype is, the more orders they can get. Perhaps that could be a reason why. Or it could be just that they are so backlogged because they usually release, if it's a good year and there's no coronavirus, they'll usually release one figure a week. So that means that their factories, because I'm pretty sure they work with 2 factories over in China, they don't actually own the factory, they just contracted to use those specific facilities only for Hot Toys pieces. I'm pretty sure they're running back to back on production lines. Like as soon as one's done, next one.
One figure a week? Let me just calculate that. The average price of a Hot Toy figure is now $250. Of that one figure a week, say it's 52, how many do you get?
Yep.
Do you get every one?
Yeah.
You can see the smirk in the face even before the question was finished.
Okay, well, see, I've gotten to the point where, like, in my younger days, like, I would have wanted every armored Iron Man figure, every die-cast, but it gets to the point where, to me, I'm like, you have so many figures. Like, some people want all of the Infinity War figures, then you get all the Endgame figures, and I know you do, but for me, I'm like, it's gotten to the point where I just want to get the best iteration of that figure. I mean, I love, for instance, the Age of Ultron armor. What is that, 50, that goes with the Hulkbuster? That, when
43.
43. When I got that figure is one of the best engineered toys I've ever seen in my life. And I looked at that, you pick it up, it's die cast. It's like, if my 10-year-old self knew that at some point in the future that something like this would exist, I mean, I'm glad I didn't, because I wouldn't have bought any of the toys I had when I was a little kid. I just would have been waiting until I was a middle-aged man with one foot in the grave to get stuff like this. But like once you get that, like even now, like I have the Iron Man 3. I probably have, I think, 6 Iron Man die-cast figures, and I want all of them, but like the difference between the Infinity War Iron Man armor and the Endgame armor, I mean, then again, I watched somebody I watched Jedi Patrol. Is it Jedi Patrol? I watched his. Yeah. He was comparing and contrasting both, and I'm like, I'm not going to get the Endgame, and then I'm like, oh, damn it. I love the gold on that armor. Time to get that figure, So you get everything. I mean, I would love to get everything, but I get discern. Yeah, see, oh man,
this guy.
I mean, it's the gold. The Infinity War armor is a little too red. It's too much red. That gold makes it tasty, and then you got to go buy that.
Some gold with your red, sir?
Yes, I would. Yes, I would. So do you get? I mean, I guess it's an improper question, but how do you get enough of a discount that you can keep financing? People must ask you all the time. Come on, what do you do? Do you have stocks and bonds? Are you independent? Are you a day trader? Are you in the tech industry? What's up? Come on, help me out here.
I'll give you a timeline of where I started and how, because I wouldn't be able to afford it. Just put it out there. I wouldn't be able to afford it without the YouTube channel. Luckily, the channel does finance some of the figures now, but when it started, it wasn't. So I do work in the tech industry. I work for a telecommunications company, kind of like your AT&T or something like that in the States. But we also develop our own products. So I work in sales for them. So luckily, I do have a full-time job. So I was able to, when I first started, I was paying $550 plus per figure per week. And I'm lucky enough that I don't drink, and I don't do narcotics, and I don't do all the other weird, wonderful stuff that people like to do. So I had.
Come on, man! Hot toys are narcotics. They're just a different kind.
Narcotics,
Exactly. So I was able to spend my funds on my plastic narcotics rather than actual narcotics. So that's where it started, and then because I was already buying stuff out of Hong Kong anyway, because our prices in Australia are insane. So I was already buying stuff early, and then my mate, his name's Daniel, was like, hey, why don't you like show people these, because there aren't that many reviews like day one anymore of Hot Toys figures. Like there'll be, when Sideshow releases, then people have deals with Sideshow and they pick stuff up from them. So I was like, hey, I may as well. And then I did my first one, and then my second one, and then obviously I think I just passed 800 videos now, which is an insane number to me. And then that way, making the videos, I started to speak to different companies, and I was being approached. And around, I think, 30,000 subscribers, Toys Wonderland contacted me, and they weren't even a thing. Like, they weren't a business. It was actually not even called Toys Wonderland. It was just the owner's name, Philip. So Philip was like, hey, I want to start supplying figures, and I can beat the deal that you already have. I can give you a discount. And I was like, hey, you want to give me a discount? Okay, let's do it. And then we sort of partnered, and now he's, I don't want to say number one, but I would say top 3 supplier in Hong Kong at least. Like, he's just moving to his new warehouse space, and he sent me a video, and it's like enormous. So I'll send you the video after this, Rob, so you can see what I mean. But it's like, it is huge warehouse space, and in Hong Kong that's unheard of. So thankfully he was able to do well out of the scenario as well. But yeah, I got a discount, and I still do, and that's how I'm able to afford the figures. And then the delta that between that discount and getting to break even, the videos sometimes, depending on what it is, sometimes will make up for it. But say for instance, a third-party figure like the Young Rich Toys Miles Morales, an amazing figure, 3 million views, which is mind-blowing to me. That has paid for many Hot Toys pieces just on that one video. So sometimes one will do better than the others, and it'll offset the costs, and it's worked out luckily. But if I was still having to pay that insane $550 per week, it would be a big struggle.
No, I
Absolutely.
mean, I think one of the reasons is to start a YouTube channel and to cultivate it over the. I mean, my channel is relatively young; it's 2 years old. You know, I just passed 32,000 subscribers, but you know, to have
Congrats.
up to what you guys do, yes, that would be the point. Would be to and the fun part about it is that you can turn around and make videos with the toys that you've got, which is fun in and of itself.
Correct. Like the collection tours are some of my favorite to do because they cost me nothing. It's literally me just talking about like the stuff that I love,
Yeah.
and they're longer format, which I know it's bad to say, but YouTube loves to put ads in
Oh,
longer format videos, so that's good.
yeah.
But those are the best kinds, and I haven't started doing them, but I will be when we move. Top fives. There's this guy that I watch on YouTube who does Lego reviews, and he does worst to first for that entire year. So he'll do all of the releases for that year, and he'll rank them worst to first. I really like the idea of doing stuff like that. And
Wow.
as I said, the benefit is they don't cost you anything because you've already got the stuff.
Yeah, and for somebody like us, for instance, it's pornography. We class it as pornography. It's just, you know, you turn it on and he's just there, just, oh, this is amazing.
Well,
So, you know, it doesn't cost you anything. For us, it's just the best entertainment in the world ever.
I'm glad
Yeah,
that you guys. I'm glad that you guys like my videos. When I watched the stream of you guys talking about my channel, I was like, wow, these guys actually like my videos. Like, I answer all of my comments, which I know everyone says don't answer the comments. You know, there's a lot of hate down there, and there is. So I read everything and I answer everything. So I, most of the time, see a lot of nastiness. And I'm like, oh, really? People say I'm talking too much, but it's a review, so I kind of have to talk.
Yeah.
And stuff like that. Like, I'll see thousands of comments of that every single day. And then I watch you guys, and you're like, hey, I really like these videos. I was like, hey, people actually are enjoying the video.
Oh no! I mean, it was funny when you left a comment on the first show, and
Yeah.
I was, dude, when you left a comment, that was like, you know, if Brad Pitt left a comment on one of my videos, it would not have been as exciting to me as hearing from you. And I was like, oh my god! I mean, I think that's how Az and I met. We met on another stream, and I think it's been really one of the great things. And I think something people don't talk about nearly enough is the positivity for YouTube creators to collaborate and meet like-minded people. Because I mean, I've got friends like my friend Cliff. He's got a great collection of figures and stuff, but it's not like I have a cadre of friends that are all collecting Hot Toys figures at my age. It's like, don't you have something better?
I don't know that many people who collect either. So it's like the only way is to speak to our virtual collecting community, right? Like, I've got maybe one or two friends locally who collect, but not everything and not as much. And sometimes, you know, they collect different stuff. But it's the online community that we've now been able to share our obsession with. That's the best way of putting it.
Obsession is the perfect word, I think. Yes.
Well, now let me ask you this: why?
Yes.
What is it about? Like people have always asked me, and I think that we all, the three of us, I think instinctively understand why we collect. But why do you collect, Justin? What is it about these figures? What is it about specifically Hot Toys figures that is so intoxicating?
I think I've always had a bit of an OCD, if you will. I need something to be as accurate as it can be. Like when I was a kid, you know, the figures that we get based off films, like
terrible.
You know, they're not accurate at all. I was back in the day, because I grew up in the 90s, watching Beast Wars. The figures look nothing like the show. And, you know, most kids would be fine with that. But not me. I was like, I want it to look like it does on the screen. Why can't it look like that?
I was just like
That's
you.
why you end up with things like this, isn't it?
Yes, exactly. And then I start seeing these super accurate, you know, like smaller 12-inch scale figures. And my other obsession was movie props and stuff like that, like the costumes. I would always, when I was young, want to see more. I was like, why can't I see all of the Batman Begins suit? Like, I can't see all the details. And then someone's like, well, you can own it. It's just a lot smaller. So I was like, oh, I can own that. And then that's where it sort of started. But yeah, the Transformers was probably the main one, the G1, because I had the 86 movie on VHS. And I would rewatch the heck out of that thing. And then I would look at the G1 figures and I'm like, hey, you don't look anything like that. Like Ironhide, you don't even have a head.
Yeah. That used to drive me mad. That used to,
Yes. So now
Why
that
does
we
it look
can
like
get...
this in the toy form? This is not the show.
Just
This
be
got a
like the
screen
show.
in
Come
front
on.
of it. What is that? What is that? Come on.
Oh, exactly. So now that we can have these super accurate, faithful, posable, filled with accessory releases, I'm like, this is the best thing ever. I can literally own the suit, and I can put it with the actor inside into any pose that I want to. Like, to have Beskar Mando, and luckily he was wearing the suit at the end of season 1, to have him and be able to pose him just after watching season 2, like an episode of season 2 of The Mandalorian, that's insane to me. I would never have imagined that would have been a possibility, like in this level of detail and scale and everything back when I was a little guy.
No, I mean I feel the same way. The only I when I was a kid, I loved Japanese die-cast super robots, and I had never seen the animated shows from the 70s because we didn't really get them in America, and a bunch of them did come over as part of this cable package called Force 5, where I got to see a lot of these. I had Bandai, it was called Poppy back then, but I had these, and we had Shogun Warriors that Mattel put out in the States that were just repackaged Japanese super robot toys, and those things have also been getting better. The Soul of Chogokin line for the last 20 years from Bandai. Man, I
love that line.
I love that line. As a matter of fact, I have one, the one that I just opened, the Getter Robo, another Getter Robo, but there's so many of them. Japanese diecast is another. It's talk about intoxicating, and it's just between the diecast Gundams and the diecast super robots, like I wish that my taste in toys was cheaper, because now
me too.
because growing up, it's like all the toys that I want are $250 and above, which is problematic. But I feel the same way that you did. I mean, when I was a kid, I remember getting the first like land speeder from Star Wars, and it was not the right shape, and it was too short, and it had these spring-loaded wheels, and I'm supposed to be happy about the fact that, and I'm like, look, I can imagine I can pick it up and float it. I can imagine it. I don't need a spring-loaded. The toy companies thought, well, we have to make it more toyetic. Yeah, put in the gimmicks. The TIE Fighter, the first TIE Fighter was white, and the wings were too small, and they popped off and fell down. I'm like, I don't need a spring-loaded explosion effect. I can imagine it in my head. I just want it to look like a damn TIE Fighter. Why does this? And now, and then you've got companies like third-party companies like Jazz Inc. They're like, well, here's a land speeder, which soon will be mine, by the way. 6 scale.
That's exciting.
Their second run of the land speeder, but it's like, and they allow you to pay things off for like, now it can go up to 18 months, Jazz Inc. or whatever.
Yep.
Thank you.
They've got the payment plans are excellent. I've got a friend who owns the land speeder, and he says it's one of the most amazing things that he has. So I can't wait to hear your thoughts on that land speeder. I don't personally have it, but I do have the Batmobile and the Falcon cockpit. And I never thought that because I started collaborating with Jazz Inc. and promoting the Batmobile throughout its pre-order run, I never thought that I would one day be involved, not necessarily involved, but, just helping the production of something, but on the back of the box for the Justice League, the Justice Mobile, and the Millennium Falcon cockpit, Justin's collection is printed there. So I'm like,
nice.
Yeah.
Well, it's interesting. Like I've got the Falcon cockpit coming. It's paid off. I paid it off for over a year, and it's paid off. But because of coronavirus and all that, I'll get it sometime next year. I don't care. I mean, but
and
the fact
is very accurate, might I add.
Oh, it's unbelievable. And you were telling me that now they're getting people who work in the industry sending them blueprints and things to make their material more accurate.
Yep.
And I mean, it's incredible to me. Like my friend Darren also has a land speeder coming. He gets a shipping notice when they ship to you. That stuff comes really fast. Like they say it's coming, and they do a great job. I mean, you pay for it, but still, it's amazing that you've got people, and then the third party. I guess it's frustrating to me that there are so many people making really cool third party things because big companies could, one, not afford licensing, and two, they wouldn't sell enough to make. That's why Hot Toys doesn't make that stuff, right? Because they can't.
I'm so surprised, honestly, that 3-0 picked up the license for Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, because Ace Toys just recently did a third party line of the whole Mighty Morphin, the whole team. If you'd asked me, a year ago if I ever thought an official company would do it, I would say absolutely not. But 3-0 have just announced that they're doing the whole line, and the figures are like $99 or something. That is so cheap for an officially licensed 1/6 scale. I'm like, how are they doing that? But I do think it depends on the company, and it depends on the licensor. I know that I spoke to the owner of Jazz Inc., and he said some of the licensing fees, because he would obviously love to do everything fully licensed. That's the best way to do it. Then you can actually have them, at conventions and shows and sell through Sideshow and all that sort of stuff. And he's been approached by a couple of companies to do some stuff, which I can't really talk about, but it's very exciting. But the licenses for like the DC stuff, for instance, is insane. Like it would pretty much, he'd be selling at a loss, and he kind of already is just selling at break even. He doesn't make a hell of a lot because his prices aren't that high. So yeah, it's interesting. I'd like to know per company for DC, for Disney, Lucasfilm, how much the licensing fees cost per thing. And don't forget, some of the actors still, or most of them nowadays, still own their likeness rights.
Right.
So Robert Downey Jr., for instance, on an Iron Man head sculpt, and this is why they reused it on the Mark 46, on the Mark 47, on the Mark 50. They reused it 3 times, is because apparently the licensing rights for that one particular head sculpt, because they have to pay it per head sculpt, was $1 million for one. And that's why we saw it 3 times.
Wow. And I don't think a lot of people understand that.
Yeah. But luckily, it's an Iron Man figure. They're selling in hundreds of thousands of units.
Yeah.
And it's across 3 releases, so they could cost share. But the Mark 85, the one that a lot of people really don't like, they have had to pay the licensing fee to make an all-new head sculpt. And then it didn't turn out as they had intended, and now they're swapping it out, that previous one anyway. So it's like, I really feel bad for them with that head sculpt. I don't know what happened.
That and the Paul Rudd head sculpt for Ant-Man. Yeah. I mean, it's interesting. Did you follow the Molecule 8 debacle?
Yeah.
I mean, I have. You can't really see it behind me, but I do have.
Lennon, I've seen it in your videos.
John Lennon. I love that figure. I mean, they had a really good thing going. I had pre-ordered their Willy Wonka, and I had pre-ordered the I wanted to get their Jack Burton. And I know there's other companies other than Hot Toys. Like, I really love Blitzway. I think Blitzway does a really, really good job. I mean, the first Blitzway toy I think I bought was Carlito's Way, the Al Pacino from Carlito. I'm like, the fact that somebody even made, like, in the aughts, there was all kinds of weird, like, I have a lot of Metacom real action figures, but they break. I mean, they don't last. But I do have figures, like, they did a character from Ridley Scott's movie Black Rain. They did the Japanese villain in Black Rain. I'm like, well, I gotta have that, And it's a pretty good figure, but they're, even their figures are more anime style. But my Neo from Matrix Reloaded, I picked it up, and the foot, it just broke. The foot, and I'll super glue it in place, but it can't move, and they always break at the joints, and that's happened.
Let me ask a glorious question. If you could have any movie, this is specific to movie now, any movie, 2 box set, I'll give you a 2 box set instead of just one or 2 box set figures, who would it be?
Ooh, that's a hard one, because they've kind of made a lot of everything. I'm gonna say probably a weird one. And it's very 90s specific, but I would love to see a from the actual movie, the armored Red Ranger and the armored White Ranger from that cheesy 90s Power Rangers movie that was filmed in Sydney. Because that was the coolest thing ever as a kid. I'm living in Australia, in Sydney at the time, and they're filming a Power Rangers movie like just down the road in the city, and then I can go and see like where I live on screen, and the Power Rangers are there, and I would love to get those awful fully armored Power Rangers suits. But if you think about it, they've kind of made all of the big brands like Ghostbusters. You've got your Matrix figures, whether it's Hot Toys or someone else, and obviously DC, Marvel, all that's mostly covered. But yeah, that would probably be mine, or the Val Kilmer Batman and the Chris O'Donnell Robin that they keep showing us and they never give us.
I would be remiss. Well, I have to say, first and foremost, my girlfriend, if I didn't say Sean Connery from Zardoz, a Zed figure. But if I could have, I would love to get a box set from the mid-'70s movie Logan's Run, where you had Logan, Francis, Box the robot, and a Jessica figure, Jenny Agutter. But they'll never. I mean, as the movies get older, and nobody cares. So who's going to buy that figure? Or I would love to get like all the entire crew of the Nostromo from Alien. You know, they made Ripley, and they made the astronaut suits, but no one's going to do people in civilian work garb where you're going to get like a Yaphet Kotto with pit-stained shirt, his work, I mean, and a baseball hat. No one's going to make that, but I would like those, or I'd like Matt Hooper, Captain Quint, and Brody from Jaws. You know, I'd love to get those figures.
And Bruce, we need the shark. Come on.
Right. And or a 6-scale orca. The boat. Yeah. You know? But you know, and like we finally got Sideshow made a Snake Plissken from Escape from New York, and that's the thing. I mean, third party. Like, I got out of buying third party figures for a long time, but now they've got so good, partly because of your channel. Like, I watch them like, oh, well, I got to have that. When I saw there's a third party of Michael Corleone from Godfather 2 coming out, and I'm like, well, bring that on. And then there's a Chinese company, I don't know, they're doing a 2-pack from Ong Lee's movie Lust Caution with Tony Leung. And
wow.
So I order that. I'm like, it not only does Tony Leung's one of my favorite actors, but it comes with a chair. So I'm like, but it looks like it's like officially licensed, and I'm like, they're making a Lust Caution, you know, a period piece about two people that fall in love in like 1927 or something. Why would? But they look great. Nobody is going to care. But you know, at one point, these figures behind me, these Hot Toys are transitory. The Avengers are migrating where they all have to be in here. But here, I'm going to put on this shelf action figures with chairs. Like Vito Corleone, Tony Montana. I have a Charlie Chaplin, you know, and they're all going to go here.
Grand Moff
Tarkin, yeah. No, he stays with the Star Wars.
Chair.
He came with a chair. I mean, I thought I ordered the Emperor Palpatine with his throne, but I forgot. I ordered the wrong one somehow. So I have, and I even called up Jazz Inc. I'm like, do you have an extra Palpatine throne? Because I didn't, and he sold out. And I'm like, come on, man. Do another run.
That's a big chair.
So go on.
That's that throne is like depth wise a lot bigger than you might think. I have the throne, and I was thinking as soon as I got it, I was like, oh, it has to go in the display, obviously. And then it was like 4 figures deep, and I was like, I would rather have the 4 figures than the chair in the display. Yeah. But when we move, I'll see if I can find a place for that chair, because I think he needs it.
Do you know how many Hot Toys figures you have?
I have a spreadsheet, but I haven't updated it in a while, just because insurance, we need to catalog everything. But I think it's over 400, that's for sure. And that's like on display. But I have a lot of stuff now that's been arriving, like third-party stuff, like the Doc Ock, for instance, the Toy Zero one, and the Negasonic Teenage Warhead and stuff like that has been arriving, and I've reviewed it. But because we're moving, I didn't want to find a place to put them in the display, because I'll just have to move them again anyway. So they're in storage still. So I have a lot of stuff still in storage. a subscriber of mine just recently sent me the DX12 because I'm getting the DX19 Batman, and he's like, "Well, you don't have the original because I started collecting after it, after it had sold out." And he's like, "I have one. I'll send it to you, and you can do a comparison." So that was amazing, and I've now got a DX12 Batman from Dark Knight Rises that I can compare to
I have that
the
figure.
new
It's
one.
great. It's great.
I thought I was imagining it when because I kind of go onto Sideshow nearly every day, and
And you
even
saw the new one.
yeah, if he's just window shopping, and I just saw this Bale face, and I was kind of like, is this a statue? So I just click onto it, and it's like the 1 in 6 Dark Knight Rises Batman. It's just like on there,
And he's bigger this time. Well. He can actually scale with, all the other Batman figures. He won't be super tiny anymore, which I know is a complaint for a lot of people. Same thing with the '89 Batman. Apparently, sometime next year, that one's going to be updated as well. That DX89 Batman and the Joker, because their scale was slightly too small. And nowadays, I think Hot Toys could do a lot better. They made the suit fully rubber, but in the film, it wasn't fully rubber. It was a like a wetsuit type material, and then the panels were in certain sections were glued over the top. Therefore, Michael Keaton could actually move in it. Now, I'm hoping that they do the exact same thing in figure format, spandex undersuit, and then the panels over the top, so you can actually pose it without having to destroy a super rigid rubber suit that's going to fight you the whole time. So I'm hoping that one is like a huge upgrade compared to the DX19, the Dark Knight Batman, which is not like, it's bigger, but like the Armory one was already pretty good.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know how much better in terms of the suit and in terms of the mouth plates. I don't know how much better you can get, but anyway, we'll see when it comes out. We shall.
The '89 Jack Nicholson Joker is an unbelievable figure. It's one of my favorite Hot Toys figures. I have it, and I love it, love it, love it. I really love the DX line. I'm sorry I guess all their figures now are DX figures, but I did like the DX figures that they released. But I wish they would do more.
It's mostly Star. I don't know how they pick. It's mostly Star Wars. I found we had 2 DX Darth Mauls for some reason. I'm not exactly sure why Darth Maul was given the treatment twice.
Right.
And actually, technically, if you count the speeder one, it was 3. So 3 DX Darth Mauls. That was quite surprising. But Batman, DX19 Batman, there hasn't ever been, I don't think, a DX Marvel release. No, I'm pretty confident in saying there hasn't ever been a DX Marvel release. Maybe there will be down the line. I would love to see that. I would, honestly, more DX is a good thing. With the moving eyes and sometimes the multiple head sculpts, and sometimes, like the DX07 Bespin Luke, 2 figures in a box.
I have that.
And
he comes with the gantry beneath Cloud City that he's hanging off of, and what's great is you can like mount it to the ceiling if you wanted to. That's a great. I should
do stuff like that anymore.
I should say I have a super chat here from Jonathan Rowe. He says, "Hey guys, love the channels. Justin, when does your move to the new house start?" And he can't wait to see the new setup.
I cannot wait for it to be done. Not to do it, for it to be over.
Yeah.
We get the keys to our new place on the 8th of Jan. So I've booked in, my buddy Daniel and I have done this a couple of times. I booked in Daniel. He's going to come and assist me with the move. We're going to go 1 cabinet at a time. A lot of people are just like, just let the movers do it. I'm like, no.
no.
The movers will not be doing it. So I'm gonna take each figure and I put 1 layer of bubble wrap and then I stack them like in a wine box. When you get a thing of wine, how they're all standing up and there's like a thing between them. I put them in plastic tubs like that. That way I don't have to put them all back in boxes because that could take like a million years. And then we dismantle 1 cabinet, go to the new place, build that, and then put everything back in and then keep going. There's only 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 cabinets. So it shouldn't take us, I think, maybe 2 days to get it done. But the 8th of Jan, sorry. Long-winded answer to your very simple question.
Action Figure World sent in a super chat and says, "Wow, now this is a stream I can get behind." And also Andrew Matthews says, "Az and I did these review shows of the 1960s TV show The Prisoner." And Andrew Matthews says, "Are there any Prisoner figures with added 60s chair for R&B?" Not that I know of, but there's a figure. I mean, I would think like Big Chief. Like, are you a fan of? Do you like Big Chief stuff? Do you collect Big Chief toys?
I've owned one figure from them previously, but I don't anymore. They're on my radar. They make a lot of older movie stuff, which is really good. They make stuff that's not quite as toyetic as like Hot Toys, which is the same thing as Blitzway. They'll make like the Ghostbusters, for instance, and the Ghostbusters are amazing, but at the end of the day, they're like 4 dudes in jumpsuits, right? Like right. They're not really the same thing as a Batman or something like that. So those companies tend to make the stuff that a lot of people find more niche. But honestly, yeah, I really like their stuff. The thing with Big Chief that kind of gets me is sometimes their paint application is a little bit chalky. And I'm not, when it gets to that sort of chalky side, maybe they're better now, but the one that I've owned previously was like that. So I'm not a huge fan of that, but by all means, if third-party companies can do it, then Big Chief, I'm pretty sure Big Chief is also another company that makes third-party figures, but I won't say anything, but I'm pretty sure.
Well, you know, it's like I was really disappointed. I had their Maximus from Gladiator on pre-order, and that's a figure that I've had multiple third-party and custom figures over the years, and I was really looking forward to getting an official release, and I had him on pre-order for like a year and a half, and then nope, canceled. They didn't make it. And look, I love their Bond line. Like I slept on. I need to go back and get their Dr. No figures. Like I mean, not the Goldfinger figures, because those look great. And I do have their Live and Let Die figures. I have the 3 Live and Let Die figures. I haven't even taken them out of the box, but I have those, and I've got a few of their Doctor Who figures. And I think they're getting better all the time as well. I mean, and even third-party figures, people are really stepping up. There's the facial sculpts and the paint apps on a lot of third-party figures they're really getting good.
Yeah, we need a Prisoner one. Need a number 6. Need a number 2.
I mean, it would be. Well, go ahead. Sorry,
Rob. What were you going to say?
No, go ahead.
I think something that a lot of people don't know is Hot Toys is a little bit. They're a little bit sneaky when it comes to the licenses, because they've got the funds that they can throw around. When it comes to like the big toyetic licenses, they want to have it. So say for instance, the Venom movie, that came out, when was that? I don't even remember when it was. Whenever it came out, the Venom movie, was it 2018?
Yeah, I think so.
So in 2018, before the movie even came out, they won the bid for that license, but they didn't make a figure until this year. They announced a Venom. That's how long they were able to sit on that license, just so that nobody else could make a Venom. Like, that's insane. The whole CW verse of Flash and Arrow, etc., the only reason they made that CW Flash was because they were about to lose that license if they didn't produce anything. And that's why they made the CW Flash, and they haven't made anything else from that CW universe at all. They have the licensing rights to all of the shows.
Hot Toys does?
Yeah. There was a company who was planning on making the Tyler Hoechlin, I'm pretty sure is his surname. Not sure how to pronounce it.
Yeah.
That Superman, they even had a prototype. They had 2 head sculpts, one smiling one. I've seen it. It looked good. But they were never able to make it because Hot Toys outbid them for the license just to not make anything. Like,
wow.
That's so sneaky. Yeah.
Well, and there's like, because of your channel, that's why I recently ordered the Titans Robin, just because that figure is great. And then the Nightwing, and then I went and ordered the Green Arrow, you know, and
that Green Arrow should be out any day now. Apparently, it was supposed to be before the end of the year. Obviously, in Australia, it's the 31st of December, so almost the end of the year.
Yeah.
It should be out maybe next week, I would say. I hope.
Well, it's frustrating. Like, the end game Captain America, I just got a notice. I've been waiting for that. I just got a notice that my final payment won't be due until at least February because
delayed, yeah.
it's delayed. And I'm like, it is very frustrating because I swear to God, I'm going to be dead. I will have died, and then one day a box is going to show up like Elizabeth. Well, what is this? Bob's dead, and there'll be some Hot Toys figure, something I ordered from a year ago that'll show up at the doorstep, and she'll be like, "What?"
I'm just worried there's going to be a month where I'm going to get 10 emails from Hot Toys saying shipping, 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 and I'm just going to be like,
I think that's the thing with Sideshow, because a lot of people say you're crazy from ordering it from Hong Kong, right? Because the prices, most of the time, like sometimes they'll be cheaper. Like the Mark 85 was relatively inexpensive because of the whole head sculpt thing. Nobody wanted it. And sometimes they'll be cheaper, but most of the time, if you're getting it day one from Hong Kong, they're more expensive. But in the same vein, if you're ordering from Sideshow and you have 10 things on pre-order, and they all come in the same shipment in the same container, then you get charged for 10 things at one time. So it's like, would you rather buy one every 2 months and space it out that way and budget that way, or be charged for 10 things in 1 month? So it's like, it's a challenging thing to say, like, just go for the Hong Kong sellers or just go for Sideshow because then they have the reward points, but now you have to spend them within a year, which is hard to do because sometimes Hot Toys figures come out 2 years later, and you want to save your points for when it's released.
I was really bummed out. By the way, Connie Sang sends in a tip and says, my first action figure is McFarlane Eric Draven the Crow from high school, and she still has it. She's got a couple of Funkos because it's much smaller and affordable, but watching The Mandalorian makes me want to invest in a Hot Toy. My financial advisor will be pleased. You know what? If you anything Mandalorian, any Mandalorian Hot Toy is going to go up in value, even though they're going to make more. Oh, I love that. That Death Trooper is so badass. Yeah, I mean,
he's well worth getting.
Look at that.
Yeah. Nice.
That is gorgeous. And Kevin, the comic doctor, all the way up. He's up in Canada. Hi, guys. Great conversation. I love the new Hot Toys, but I hate the price tag I see at Toys R Us. I love the new toys when I want to buy my son a 3 3/4 inch figure to actually play with. Some are as high as $29.99 for a tiny action figure. I hit the secondary market to buy toys for him. Yep.
Now imagine spending, for the same vintage collection 3.75 inch figure in Australia, imagine spending $40.
It's just insane. I mean, when I lived in Sydney for a year in 2005, and even my comic books, when I'd go buy my weekly comic books, I'm like, I'm paying like double.
Yeah, it's literally double. And the same thing goes for Hot Toys. We should probably talk about. There's one thing that a lot of people, a common misconception with Hot Toys is that the price keeps getting higher and higher, right? Like I hear it all the time. The price is going through the roof. It's so expensive now. And if you're buying directly from Sideshow, which is technically outside of Hong Kong, the only way to officially buy Hot Toys is through Sideshow because they have the global, except for Japan and Hong Kong, they have the global distributing rights. So even in Australia, our big suppliers have to go through Sideshow. So it goes from Hong Kong to Sideshow in California, then down to Australia, which means the price is insanely expensive. A lot of people think that, like, even at San Diego, I'll hear them at the Sideshow booth like, oh, these Sideshow figures are the best. Like, they do their very best to put Hot Toys as minimally as possible on the product page. Like, you'll go and you'll search Doctor Strange, and it'll say, Doctor Strange 6-scale figure. Nowhere will it say Hot Toys Doctor Strange. But they try their very best to make sure you believe that it's a Sideshow figure because that's literally their number one selling.
Talk about getting the Sideshow statues. You're not getting the Prime 1 statues.
Correct.
But they market it so well for their own brand that you Sideshows if they are the creators of it. And of course, when you purchase from Sideshow, you get that thank you. And then it has various clips of people working on the product, so it really makes it look like they're creating the product as well.
sells
Right.
it.
That really cute Asian girl in the white outfit. She's like, "Hey," I'm like, "I want to talk to you."
Hi.
It's
I'm buying.
it's very interesting. It's very interesting the way they do it. But it works, I guess. If there's a brand that is your number one seller, and you can convince people that brand is you, then I guess you may as well do it. But anyway, that's just the way I see it. Might not necessarily be how they do, but the price thing. So, for those of you out there who don't know, Hot Toys, as I said a couple of times, is a Hong Kong-based company. So if you go on the Hot Toys Secret Base Facebook page, that's the official store in Hong Kong, they always show the price, that the actual figure is like the retail price of what it's supposed to be price-wise. I wish I had a comparison. In fact, let me just do it. So say, for instance, let's pick one. Do you guys want to pick a recent figure that just went pre-order that we can compare the price?
Pick a recent pre-order, shall we?
How about
be very hard at all.
How about the quarter scale Spider-Man?
Yeah.
Somebody's taking money out of my account.
let me bring it up and let's see what we got. Okay, has the classic suit Spidey gone up for pre-order with Sideshow yet? Let's have a look. Okay, classic suit Spider-Man. Let's have a look. So a lot of people are saying that the prices are going through the roof. Classic suit Spider-Man Hot Toys. I should probably type, not just classic suit, because it's not going to bring up anything. Here it is. So a usual figure in Hong Kong will run you between 180 to $200 $200 being on the higher end. That's about where it's been, and it's been that way for years now.
And that's in Hong Kong.
In Hong Kong, yeah, that's relatively stagnant. If you were to walk into Secret Base and pre-order, that's the price you'll pay every day of the week. But for some reason, with other things like figure arts or even iPhones, like here in Australia, I have to pay $2,500 for this, whereas in the States you pay just over $1,000. But people can understand that. It's like, this is a $1,000 product, but here in Australia, just to have it, we've got to pay double. But it doesn't mean our expectations of this product are now double. They've remained the same, because that's retail. This is a $1,000 item. It's not a, you know what I mean? Like it's that thing. But for some reason, people are saying, well, for $400, I expect my Iron Man to fly. It's not $400 Iron Man. It's $200 Iron Man. You just paid $400 for it. So anyway, back to my research. I'll let you guys.
Well, let me Justin. Lord Toth sends in a super chat and says, "There's a Titans Robin and a Nightwing. What company has it?" I don't remember.
Two companies, actually. Toys Era made a Robin, and So Toys are making Robin and Nightwing.
Those are the ones I ordered, the So Toys versions.
Those ones, in my opinion, I haven't obviously seen them in person yet, but I have experience with the company. Those ones will be the superior releases over the Toys Era one, especially in terms of the head sculpt. But I picked up both so I can compare them anyway. But I'm pretty sure the So Toys ones will be superior when they come out.
Now, in the States, I usually order from 1/6 Outfitters, which is a company out of New York. And I like them because when they sell out of stuff, they sell out of stuff. And it's not like you get a message that's disappointing where, sorry, we didn't get enough. Wah, wah, wah. I hate that. They for their pre-orders, 1/6 Outfitters, that's where I ordered the Tony Leung figure. I'm like, oop, click. Now they've got the Blade Runner figures and the Blade Runner 2049 figures. I'm like, oh, gotta have those.
Yeah, I need to get that one as well. My research is complete, by the way. So, classic suit Spider-Man in Hong Kong. Retail, you go into the store, you walk out with it when it's released, obviously. $205. Whereas with Sideshow, you'll be paying $260 plus shipping plus tax. So I'm not sure where that'll put you, but it'll put you $280, maybe closer to $300. If I was to order it here, I'd be paying $450. Just because the shipping so expensive. And people have said, oh, well, of course it's going to be more because they have to buy it from Hot Toys first, and then they're going to charge you on top of that, right? Well, no, that's not how. That would be a terrible business if they were buying it for retail and then selling it and making a profit over that. They buy it for wholesale price, of course. They're the official distributor for the world, except for those couple of countries. So they get it for a wholesale price in bulk for tens of thousands of units, and then they will put the price accordingly. Now, I've been told by the senior VP of marketing at Sideshow that Hot Toys sets the price that they charge for it on the Sideshow website. But I've also been told by a Hot Toys employee that that's not true. So I don't know. I mean, who really? It's hard to say who is more accurate in that. I don't want to say anyone's not telling the truth, but one person stands to look better from that comment than the other. So,
but I mean,
all I'm saying is there's a big delta between the wholesale price that they pay for it versus the price that they charge for it. Realistically, I do believe that they could still function by charging a little bit less on top, because there is price creep. We're noticing that. Everyone's noticing that. But it's not from the Hong Kong end. It's from stateside. And then the expectations get bigger and bigger. And I don't think it's fair to the product necessarily.
People are willing to pay, they'll pay. And if people are willing to pay and they're still doing the numbers, then they don't have an incentive not to. Their incentive will be, we can keep this price creep. We can keep it going because people are still coming back and people will still be purchasing. And there's zero reason for us to say, hey, do you know what? We're going to do something altruistic. We're gonna reduce it down, give you more bang for your buck, and we're just going to take it off our bottom line.
Never going to happen. They need to keep they need to keep their their ping pong tables and their arcade machines running, of course.
Yes,
at the Sideshow head office. But in Hong Kong, that mindset is completely different. That mindset of the CEO Howard Chan is, I want to keep my product as consistent as possible, price wise and quality wise, and that's where I'm going to keep it. And he's done that in Hong Kong. It's largely remained pretty much the same, and it's worked well for him. I was at a restaurant with my wife in Hong Kong. We were having dinner, and it was a pretty nice sushi restaurant. It was apparently one of the better ones. And the guy next to me, sitting on his phone, was showing his wife a Hot Toys figure on his phone over dinner at this random sushi restaurant. So it's like, literally, Hot Toys is part of Hong Kong. Like, no matter where you go, pretty much most of the areas, even the luxury fashion area, now has an official Hot Toys store in it.
Wow.
It's everywhere in Hong Kong. It's insane. I love Hong Kong for that reason. Like, the 1/6 outfitters that you were talking about, Rob. Say, for instance, imagine you could be in your hotel, and at 8 p.m. at night, you could walk downstairs, go down the road, and there would be an entire arcade full of stores that sell head sculpts and bodies and accessories and third-party figures. At night, you can pick up
that seems like the afterlife. That's heaven to me.
Yeah. A blank
That's
check,
Hong Kong.
A beautiful Hong Kong night. China not trying to kill you. Go out and shop.
Well, it's funny because we don't have that. The same is true, like the is it Roppongi in Japan, but the toy stores where you see these little hole in the wall toy stores that everything is arranged from top to bottom, and they've got all of those kinds of things. Because in the Japanese market, they'll release things like my 6 scale Akira bike that I showed. They just announced they're redoing it, and it's the same.
I'm listening to you in your last show.
They're redoing it. And they're putting out, it's going to be a Tamashii Nations exclusive, and it's going to be exactly the same thing, and it's one of my favorite pieces that I own. I love it so much. And, I'm not one of those people like, look at me, I bought this when it came out. I mean, I it's just cool, and everybody that wants one should be able to get it. And, I feel sorry for the people on eBay that are trying to get $2,500 for those bikes, but,
I don't feel sorry.
Yeah, I mean, it's like I love it when stuff gets. I do not buy my toys for investing. I don't.
No, it's a terrible investment idea.
Yeah, although Hot Toys is not
Yeah.
bad. I mean, if you're going to get a 30% return on your money, it depends what you buy. Now, let me ask you this. How does your wife now feel about your collection?
If the YouTube
That said it all.
if the YouTube channel didn't exist, then it would be a very different story. But I could be like, oh, this arrived and it got this many views and it made this much money, and then it's a different story.
Yeah.
But if it wasn't the case, then it might be a tough sell to say, hey, I need an entire room or in the new place now, 2 rooms dedicated to toys. That's a bit of a tough sell. But luckily, the YouTube channel will allow it, so I'm going to have one room that's just the collection, and then one that's the studio with a couple more cabinets. Because right now we're in a 2-bedroom apartment close to the city, which is great because I'm right near work, but we're working from home because of COVID, and apparently I'm able to do my job like that forever now. Well, not forever, but for a long time. So I don't need to be 10 minutes from the city, so we can move out a little bit further, and we're getting a bigger place, a 4-bedroom plus study house. So now we can actually have a guest room. My 12-year-old sister will come over.
4-bedroom.
Yeah. It'll end up being a 2 plus
a 2-bedroom,
2 collection room. Because people will come over, like my sister comes over all the time, and she sleeps on the couch right now. It's it's less than ideal, sleeping in the living room on the couch, where there's a perfectly usable room here. That is perfectly toys.
Your toys are way more important than your sister. Come on. Who are we kidding?
Well, she's got her own collection now. She collects statue. Well, I should say she collects. I, of course, buy them for her, but she collects Dragon Ball Z stuff. So she's basically watching all the stuff that I watched as a kid. She watched G1 Transformers and Beast Wars and Dragon Ball Z and Power Rangers. So she's obsessed with Power Rangers now. So I pretty much, at birthday and Christmas time, she'll get a new quarter-scale Dragon Ball Z statue, and then she'll add that to her Dragon Ball Z collection. So she's collecting her own stuff now. So I think she gets it.
Yeah, I mean, downstairs, Robert's desperate for me to get it out, ladies. But downstairs, I have my Prime 1 Mark from Battle of the Planets, which needs to make his introduction up here. And then literally next week, I'm going to have the Robin Prime 1 statue shipped and the Sirius Sintra Prime 1 statue, the exclusive Sirius Sintra. So I'm going to have
1
Siri and Triss.
Prime 1 is pricey.
Yes. Do you have any Prime 1 statues?
I'm trying not to get into the statue game, but I was contacted recently by Queen Studios. I'm not sure if you've heard of Queen Studios, but they make 1-to-1 scale, super realistic silicon skin with glass-eyed busts.
I've seen those. Wow. Those are amazing.
Yeah. So they contacted me and they said, hey, would you like to potentially review some stuff next year? And I said, yeah.
Yes, you would. The answer is always yes.
I would love to review.
Yes. I have to say, I did pre-order my first Prime 1 statue, I want to say a year and a half ago, and it's from Robotech, or Macross. It's in the Jurwalk mode, because I love.
Is it the one that Jetfire was based off from?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. I know
like that. Yes. But it's, and I'm a huge fan of Valkyries, transforming Valkyries, and when they saw that statue, I was like, oh, because I look at Prime 1 statues, and my girlfriend. Yeah. Like, I always watched, I don't know if you know Gem Mint Collectibles. Do you ever watch this?
Yeah.
Okay, I watch Gem Mint all the time to see his statue reviews. He just did his top 10 statues for 2020. And my girlfriend is vehemently opposed to statues. She does not like statues. She's like action figures you can play with, but what good is a statue? And I'm like, well, I always go, yeah, you're right, baby. I mean, but I'm secretly thinking, man, I'd love to have that. But the Prime 1 stuff, like when they do more off-brand, they've got a Neon Genesis Evangelion statue that I'm like, oh, I'd love to have that. and I love if it's a Japanese super robot, or it's from Gundam, or it's from Evangelion, or it's from Macross. That stuff, I love that. You know, if Prime One if they ever started making Gundam statues, I'd have a problem.
Well, my dream has come true from Prime One, because I would never even have imagined that they would do a Nightfall Batman. And so when I looked and I saw that Nightfall Batman statue, and I just had to have it. You know, it's 1 in 4, come in 2-box, massive. Bankrupt you just to get the import fees paid on it. But I just, this is when I started collecting comics. This is what I started on. I started on Batman, going into Nightfall, going into the whole Nightfall saga. So picking that up and that just being in my front room right now, and it's just every time I walk in the front room, it's like.
By the way, Jonathan Rose sends in a super chat and said, "I discovered Hot Toys because of RMB on Heroes, Collider Heroes, but now I'm broke because of Justin."
I'm sorry.
And then Bob Dylan says you were checking that was Justin quickly checking the door before answering, meaning when I was asking about your wife. And then he says also Bob Dylan says, "Please so release your Homelander from the boys."
Yeah. There's
I would
another pic of that they just released. Actually, it looks good. It looks really good.
Yeah, I'll definitely get a Homelander. You know, I'd love to get that. So you don't collect statues though, Justin? Do you? Do you have any?
The only statue type thing that I have is the child, the sideshow child.
Right.
I was honestly never planning on picking him up, but I got bitten by the Mando hype bug, of course. So I picked him up, and now I guess the benefit is I can compare him to the Hot Toys one.
Right.
But it was an interesting story. Sideshow really didn't want me to review it. They don't like companies or channels working with retailers who sell out of Hong Kong. They see them as like the enemy. And they will do stuff. I won't say, maybe I shouldn't. I'll give it a little bit. They'll do stuff like they will copyright strike some web pages on these Hong Kong sellers just to take that page down so that they can't take away from the sales from the North American retailers. But I'm pretty sure that Sideshow doesn't own copyright to any of that stuff. It's the company that makes it. Anyway, some sneaky stuff done on both sides, I would imagine. But anyway, the child, I asked the senior VP of marketing, hey, I've fully purchased and paid off the child, which was like 800 Australian dollars, which was insane to me. Any chance that you could send mine out in the same wave as the other reviewers are getting them? Because Adam Savage from Tested got his, and a bunch of other YouTubers got theirs in that same wave. And he was like, no, unfortunately, you work with Toys Wonderland, so no.
Oh.
And I was like, I see. Even though this video, like, I treat my videos as their own product. I said, well, this video will be a Sideshow product. There will be no mention of Toys Wonderland, obviously. And said, no, still, I'll try my best, but probably not. So I found, or I didn't find, one of my friends had a pre-order in a lot earlier than mine, and his was shipping around that same window. And he said, I'll trade you shipping windows because I want to see it on your channel. And a huge thank you to my buddy Adam for doing that for me. And that's how I was able to review the child. But without Adam, it wouldn't have happened. My one that I pre-ordered still hasn't shipped.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Well, that's they're still making those things. They were.
They put me. They put me, even if I was at the top, they put me like down the other end now.
See, that I don't like hearing that, because your channel, aside from being horrible for my bank account, I watch your channel and it leads me to the, I've got to go. There's things I haven't wanted to buy, but after watching your videos, I'm like, oh, I got to have that. And then you go here, I go to the Sideshow. Like, I'm a big fan of Sideshow. I have been since they started, and I understand now they've gotten to the point where they're a much bigger company and they have a lot Like I was bummed out that they lost the Bond license. I really liked their Bond
And the
figures.
Star Wars license now.
Yeah. Do they still have? Is it gone? They don't have the Star Wars license at all.
They don't have it for 1/6 scale. So their Return of the Jedi Lando, which just released, actually was their last 1/6 scale figure. They are reissuing. They are reissuing the Return of the Jedi Luke. But because that figure was already made and used there to read, but I won't be using any new ones.
Wow, are they going to come up with another license to replace that?
Yeah.
I honestly believe that they won't be making any or as many 6 scale figures going forward, just because the quality isn't there. Some are really good, but recently their Wonder Woman, their classic DC Wonder Woman that used a Bison body, that was better because that wasn't their own body. It was a separate company, but the price on that was really expensive because it was that class of body, which is in and of itself that those bodies usually retail for over $100. So the price is obviously a little bit higher. I don't think their quality is able to match Hot Toys level, even some third-party companies. And by all means, some are really, really good, but most of them can't quite get to that level. So I think that if I was them, I wouldn't waste my time trying to produce figures myself. Just go where the money is, streamline, sell the Hot Toys. That's where your money is. Don't try and waste money with licenses and production and all that sort of stuff. Do the premium format statues. Those sell quite well. People really like those. Just focus on that stuff. Don't worry about the 6 scale stuff. There are companies who can, if it ever comes to a day where I sit down and I watch someone and I'm like, you know what, their videos are way better than me. There's no way I can do better. There's no reason for me to do any. Then I will stop making videos. And I think the same should be said for Sideshow making 6 scale figures. Honestly.
Yeah, I mean, but I do miss the fact that they did do the Snake Plissken and they did do the Jack Burton from Big Trouble in Little China. You know, I did like those things, and like we both have like
or indie.
Or the Indiana Jones, like the Temple of Doom Indiana Jones.
I really like that figure, actually.
I
like it more than the Hot Toys one.
Yeah, Hot Toys cannot get Harrison Ford's face sculpt down. They can't.
It's tricky.
It's tricky. But I would like to see. Look, I mean, like I would love another set of figures. I'd love to see Alex and all 3 of his droogs, Pete, Georgie, and Dim from A Clockwork Orange. I don't know if they'll ever, like Mezco made one. I guess the Kubrick estate. Yep. And I really like, although I can never get them, I love the space suits from 2001. That executive, those are great, but they're impossible to get because they don't make very many of them. And there's a lot of vintage stuff that audiences today just don't know. Like, and that's one of the things I liked about Sideshow is they would make these figures, but then, you know, weird, like the Lust Caution figures. Who would have thought anybody would have made those figures? But somebody did.
Or the Last Samurai figures from Pop Toys. They just announced the 3 main characters in just their regular samurai robes without the armor from The Last Samurai. And
who announced those?
Pop Toys.
Oh, because I have a Nathan Algrin right over a Tom Cruise right there.
Is that the rooted hair one?
No. Here.
I see.
Oh, let me grab it. I'll show you. It's not that great. I mean, the costume is better. But, although, here's my Alfrex Toshiro Yojimbo, which I love this figure. But, yeah, the Alfrex. But here is my Nathan Algrin. And, again, I got this a long time ago. So, the face sculpt is not the greatest. But this figure's got to be, 10 years old. But I do like the actual costume. I think it's actually pretty good. And
I'm pretty sure the Pop Toys one, because they made him in his full gear as well, I'm pretty sure that some of the armor was die-cast, which as soon as you make something out of die-cast is like, okay, now you got my attention. At least, least the chest plate, I think, was, and the swords were as well. But with the unarmored versions that they just announced, they've done something quite unique in the fact that they've sculpted from the elbow down, so there's no wrist joint, so that they can hold the sword properly and have no wrist joint, so it's a seamless piece, so that they can hold it properly. And that's like, I really like that.
Yeah, that's yeah.
Let me.
I need them to do a the battle royale. I need them to do Nanohana Shurya, Noriko, Kitano. I got it.
You robbed the images of the new ones that were just announced. So check those out when you get a sec.
Oh, did you send this to me on Facebook?
Yeah.
Because I can put them up and show them.
Oh yeah, put them up.
So hang on. Since you sent them to me, give me a moment, and I will. By the way, Action Figure World sent in a super chat and says, "I want to start collecting hot toys, but as I do toy photography, it could get pricey as I need dioramas. So it's Mezco toys for now." Well, what you need is Jazz Inc. dioramas.
I think, yeah. Or you can play very,
Wow, these are bad. Oh, hang on, I got it down. These are badass,
good, right?
dude. Wow. Oh, see, I love me some samurai figures, and these are dope. Wow. Here, I'm just pulling these down. It'll just take me a minute to get them all.
I think the dream for figure photography one day is to have something like the volume that they use on The Mandalorian, but just shrunk down into a smaller scale. That would be like the dream, because you'd be able to pretty much do whatever you want. Put your figures, put your Boba Fett on Bespin. That would be the best thing ever. So I don't know, maybe one day I would like to build something like a smaller
screen, that can just have that sort of projected background of whatever you wanted, and boom.
And the lighting would be perfect. Hopefully, I would love to build something like that. We'll see if that could be a project one day.
Okay, here's one of them. People won't be able to. I put these up. They won't be able to hear you guys talk. But there's one of the figures from The Last Samurai. But this is, again, like you were saying, in civilian garb, and then this is the one I would really want, which is So those are beautiful, and it looks like they come. I'll put you guys back on now that you can hear them, but it looks like they come with traditional, like my Alfrex, my samurai figures here came with traditional garb. And I told the story that when I got these like 15 years ago, I had a Japanese neighbor who she was a Japanese national. And I went over and I said, I can't dress my action figures because it's all in Japanese. And could you please put these clothes on them for me? And she did. But it looks like these are now this company. Tell us about this company.
They, I'm pretty sure that they are an official company that also makes third-party items, because the quality, they're very good. They're pretty high-end. This is the second time they've released most of these guys. They did the fully armored versions first, and the cool thing was that you could remove the armor and then you could have it displayed like the traditional samurai way of having it like on a display, and still have the figure itself in the robes, which was fantastic. But I missed out on them the first time, so this time I'm hoping not to miss out on them. We'll see. Hopefully Toys Wonderland will stock them. But as far as I'm aware, the quality's been pretty good so far. I've never owned anything from Pop Toys that's been a full figure. I've owned a couple of their outfit sets. They did the World War II Captain America in his military uniform outfit set.
Right.
And I really like that. It's a super high quality set. They got all the badges and the pins and everything in the right places, and it's really high quality. So I'm hoping the same can be said for the Last Samurai figures. We shall see. I'll try my very best to pick them up and review them on the channel.
Yeah, I mean, I like when there's the somebody made the Bruce Wayne. There's a really nice Bruce Wayne clothing set that's coming out, and as pointed out, I've got the Justice League Batman, and that comes with the Affleck facial sculpt. So I'm like, oh, there you go. I'm gonna have two figures for one. The price of one. So,
I've got a question for you guys. Actually, when you get a figure like, for instance, the Mark 85 that comes with the unhelmeted Tony Stark head sculpt, do you prefer to go with the unhelmeted sculpt, or do you prefer to go full on Iron Man or Batman in the display?
Personally, I like to go full on. Yeah. So when Robert sent us the email which had the Bruce Wayne outfit, I was like, brilliant, because then I said to Robert,
I can use it.
Yeah,
right.
We got the head sculpt for got the head sculpt for the Justice League Batman, and Robert was like, yes. Of course. So now we can just have to get a body, get a stand, and then you can have a 2-for-1. You can have Justice League Bruce Wayne. You can have Justice League Batman. But I'm buying Iron Man for Iron Man. I'm buying Spider-Man for Spider-Man. I'm not buying them for Tom Holland. I'm not buying them for, Robert Downey Jr.
Right.
I'm sorry, guys. I'm sure your egos are fine. But that's what I'm buying them for. And so, yeah, I want the character. I don't want the actor. Unless I'm specifically buying an actor.
I think that's actually a really good point, but on the other hand, there's some characters, like I really like Chad Boseman as Black Panther, because he's a statesman as well. So to me, I love the fact, like, I wasn't going to get a Killmonger figure unless there was a Michael B. Jordan head sculpt, and I had my little Black Panther display. I have the Throne of Wakanda, and I had Shuri sitting, kind of leaning over in the Throne of Wakanda, and I had T'Challa, Black Panther, standing there holding his mask with the head sculpt in. So to me, that was a cool display, and I bought the Killmonger. I wasn't going to necessarily get Killmonger because to me Black Panther was going to be part of the Avengers anyway, but because it had a Michael B. Jordan head sculpt, I liked having, because those characters to me are just as much their characters without their costumes on. Like, I would love to get T'Challa in like royal robes, and I don't know why didn't they make an Okoye, the Dora Milaje, that fig, to me, I would have thought that figure would have sold really well because that costume is so dope that people would have bought it.
I guess it depends on the character. I mean, I don't particularly see Tom Holland as a feature to purchase a hot toy necessarily.
Right, I don't either.
Whereas Commander Cody, yeah, I can see Commander Cody holding his helmet with the Morrison head sculpt. I can see that, and I can see like Commander, Captain Commander, his commander for like one episode, whatever. Rex, for example, but they're very distinct characters because they made sure that the clone, the hierarchy of the clone figures all had like different hairstyles or different scars based on their war features. So them holding their helmets would work, but I don't see Tom Holland holding the. I know you can get it where he's holding the mask. It's just like, stick it on.
No,
the advent of nowadays in superhero movies, where like Robert Downey Jr. or Iron Man will land, and then the first thing that happens is the helmet comes off, and then he has his dialogue, and then for 2 seconds the helmet goes on. He does a bit of a fight, and then it comes back off again. I'm like, really? Just leave the darn helmet on. Seriously. That's why I love.
That's actors.
That's
you
why
see,
I love me some Batman, because that man, Batman's not swooping down and he rips the cowl off, and then he has his thing, and then he puts the cowl back on. Leave it on.
I think it's hilarious that we can even have these conversations and we all know what we're talking about. Like having the, because to me, you want the characters, when you have the action figure, you want the action figure to me to embody or encompass what you most, when you say a character's name. Like, I think it's great that they make Darth Vader's with either Anakin, like underneath you can put Anakin's head on there, but nobody wants that. You want the perfect Darth Vader helmet sculpt. I mean, you can take it apart. Let me look upon you with my own eyes. Well, I don't care. I don't want to see that. I want to see, Vader in full-on Vader mode. But
props to Carl Urban. Props to Carl Urban with Dread.
Yeah, see, that's from
that's why.
Boom.
That's why they give you this weird contraption so that you can have this on display. Otherwise, I don't want my Darth Vader looking like, a disheveled.
Unless you're recreating this thing with a Jazz Ink diorama, something like that, then no, you want Darth Vader and Luke fighting at Bespin. That's what you want. Or
unless they're going to give me a quarter scale Return of the Jedi Luke to go with my Return of the Jedi Vader, then maybe. But Hot Toys, you're gonna give us, can't just give us one piece. You're gonna give us the other. They're really good at not giving you everything.
Right. Why is that though? Like, you'd think, like, come on, man.
It's so frustrating because I was always told in my childhood, don't start something, because I would start a coloring book and then I would just move on to the next. I wouldn't finish it. Like, don't start anything unless you're gonna finish it.
Yeah.
Because especially when you're a company that you're making products like the Justice League line. I know that Cyborg was going to be too expensive to produce because it's an all-new body, and the number one thing that's the most expensive is new sculpting and new tooling, which is a new body, new engineering, light up, all that sort of stuff. Whereas fabric is cheap. You can do fabric patterns and sew it, it's fine. It's if you're using the same body, that's where most of the cost is in the body and the sculpting. So Cyborg would never have made them any money. It would have been far too expensive, the engineering. But then why show it and do the rest of the league if you're not going to commit? I would have thought they would have shared the development costs with Cyborg across the figures in the rest of the league, put the prices a little bit higher on Batman and Superman, the ones you know are going to sell, and then we could have gotten a complete league. But unfortunately, we didn't. Same thing with Suicide Squad, BVS. We never gotten fully completed teams. We don't even have a Hot Toys C-3PO. Like, what? How do we not have a Hot Toys C-3PO?
I've got that Bandai the Shigoken. It's my favorite Star Wars figure that isn't because it's so gorgeous.
Yeah, I love that one.
And yeah, it's great. By the way, Bob Dylan says Mando and Boba keep it real. # mask up.
Well, there's the sideshow C-3PO.
Yeah, there's a sideshow. Yeah, there's.
Yeah, there he is. Yeah.
I mean, I've still got old school. Like I have most of the sideshow 12-inch Star Wars figures. Like all the Clone Troopers were great, and I love having the Endor. I bought that box set of the 3 Endor soldiers that they did. Like I don't know. And people look at them like, oh, what are those? Unless you know them from Return of the Jedi, they don't exactly. But it's cool to have them. And Sideshow did a pretty good job with their 12-inch figures for the most part. I mean, there's stuff like you can have a Han Solo in his Bespin fatigues if that's what you want, and it's great to have that stuff.
I think maybe that's why we're seeing Sideshow make less and Hot Toys make more, is because potentially, and this is just literally me wildly speculating, potentially that's the reason, is because Sideshow went deep on lines. Like they made pretty much most of the clone captains and commanders in one way or the other, phase 1, phase 2, whatever. But you'll probably see Hot Toys do Cody, Rex. I don't think we're going to get any more of the captains. We probably will get we'll get a 501st. We might get a couple of other just random ones like I don't know, a 212 or like the Obi-Wan Kenobi's Orange Garrison people, maybe. But they won't go all out and give us a whole line of clones, I don't think, at least not in the next 5 years, because they've probably learned from Sideshow, who did go really deep on those lines, and I don't know, maybe that's why they're being more selective. But whatever the reason is, I hate it, and I want all of them. I want.
Yeah, I want a Bo-Katan figure. I want Katie Sackhoff. Oh, yes. They don't traditionally. Bo-Katan. Yeah, Bo-Katan and Cara Dune, and I mean, like, I'd love.
Surely a Bo-Katan has to happen. Surely.
The deluxe 501sts are fantastic because you get the OG clone helmet, and you get the
332nd.
Yeah, then you get the Ahsoka Tano helmet.
Yes.
From right at the end of the Clone Wars when she came on as an advisor because she'd left the Jedi Order. And so you get all 3 options as regards to that, which then gives you the possibility to recreate the rookies. So you can, if you want, you can personalize 5s, Echo, Heavy got, he got killed when he was in his, I think, OG clone. So you could recreate the rookies platoon if you wanted to, which I think a lot of people would like to do. Yeah. And then of course you got Captain Rex. You could do Jesse. You got Captain Rex to lead it all, and then Ahsoka with her, and then you could have General Skywalker with them as well, because General Skywalker, of course, very much attached to the 501st. So I mean, I've pre-ordered 2 regular 501sts, and I've pre-ordered 2 deluxe 501sts. There's a chance I might double both those orders. So I have 4 of each. So, you know, because I think I'd really like to customize a 5s, because I think 5s was a great character in the Clone Wars. And then, well, we're going to, you know, we know the fate of Echo and what's going to happen with the Bad Bunch, what it's called, the Bad Batch.
But yeah, and they're gonna do a new series with that. So, and one of the things I did like about what Sideshow did with those figures was they made their Clone Wars figures not animated. You know, they made them look like the rest of the line. So you could, like, I've got one of my favorite figures I have. It's not the greatest figure in the world, but is the Obi-Wan Kenobi they made in the Stormtrooper armor. That was a collaboration between Hot Toys, and they did that almost like 10 years ago, I think. But I love that, and then their whole Clone Wars line, their Clone Wars Anakin figure is really good. Sideshows. I mean now it'll be replaced by the Hot Toys one, obviously. But yeah, Jonathan Rowe, by the way, says I'm just starting a Star Wars collection, and I have vintage Boba, so I should get Empire Strikes. Oh, I have vintage Boba, so should I get the Empire Strikes Back Boba or the Empire Strikes Back Vader? Conflicted. I need help with the choice. I have no Vader.
I always struggle with these questions because it's like asking a parent, "Oh, who's your favorite child?" It's very difficult, and one parent might say a different child.
I want a dad bod Boba. I want a Mandalorian dad bod Boba.
Me too.
I would love. What
they call him? Myself.
They call him re-armored Boba now with the clean arm. I'm pretty sure that's what the official name is, re-armored.
And the black.
I would kill for that. I'm pretty confident that that's going to happen.
Yeah, they're going to make that.
Confident.
I want such a great shot by Rodriguez where he just had the. He sort of recreated that Luke Skywalker, Luke Starkiller, Ralph McQuarrie, where you had Darth Vader looming over, and then you just had Boba Fett looming over the Stormtrooper when he's on the rock, and I just thought he looked badass like that. Awesome.
I think that what I really liked, what Robert Rodriguez was saying in that behind the scenes thing is like, I treated it as if we are never going to see Boba Fett do anything ever again, and obviously that's not the case. We're going to see him in Book of Boba Fett, but he treated it like that because he wanted to finally get Boba to do something and something memorable, and finally see all the bits and pieces. And I was like, you know what, that guy gets it, because if not for him, then like the rest of this season, Boba did nothing. He was, he walked down the ramp on Slave One, and then he chased the shuttle. And like that was it. Imagine if we didn't get that scene of him kicking butt, and we just gotten those other 2 clips. It would have been the same thing that Star Wars has done time and time again with badass characters that tend to do nothing.
Yeah,
and the firing the missile, and the taking out the 2,
I love that.
And how he just turns around with the explosions. I'm like, okay, you just made a character. He earned his coolness. It was just No, that was.
Back to that question. I can't answer whether or not you should pick up Boba or Vader. Go with your favorite character. Which character means more to you? Yeah. If you resonate more with Darth Vader, a lot of people probably would, because he's Darth Vader. He's Star Wars, as if you wouldn't. But if you like Boba more, I personally would probably, out of those 2, go for the Boba Fett, because I love the Empire Boba. Plus, you get if you're getting the new one, the 40th anniversary one, you get the 2 different looks from the prototype version with the different helmet and everything. So you're getting a lot more bang for your buck. But there's no wrong answer. If you go for Vader, you're going to love it either way. They're both fantastic.
Oscar McGraw says, talk about incomplete sets. I need a Cassian Andor. I agree. Why didn't they make... But they will with the Andor series coming.
I think... if not for that Disney Plus show, then we wouldn't.
Who? Cassian what? Cassio Watch?
He's dead. He's dead.
Why was there never a Sheev Palpatine? Where's our Sheev Palpatine, man?
Well,
I would assume that now that they're doing more prequel stuff, I would assume an Emperor will happen. And just what you guys were saying before about the realistic versus the animated for the figures. I'm with you, 100% realistic, because who would want one random animated figure in their display?
Yeah.
Let's be honest. The Clone Wars has its own art style, yes. But those characters are meant to be the same characters from live action. The movies are the prime. So when I see people saying, like, I'm not pre-ordering because it doesn't look like the Clone Wars version, but that Clone Wars version was always supposed to look like Hayden Christensen as Anakin anyway.
Right.
So you're technically getting exactly what the intended purpose is. It's just done how, if they could have done it in live action, they probably would have, but they couldn't. So that's why we got that art style. And I guess a 1/6 scale animated line could look cool. But then again, would you really want an incomplete line of like 3 animated looking figures standing alongside all your realistic ones?
No.
So I'm so glad that they didn't do that.
Yeah,
so
no. Glenn Taylor says, "Do they make a life-size Cara Dune? I'm asking for a friend. I wished for one, but my wife made me rescind my wish."
Oh,
84.
Wonder Woman's a bitch. She's horrible. She's also a liar. She said to Maxwell Lord she's got no TVs, and then she's got a whole room full of them.
Oh, I know.
She's a liar, and she took everyone's wishes, and also raped.
Let me ask you, Justin, are there Star Wars figures they haven't made that you would like to see Hot Toys do?
C-3PO is literally like number one. Like, I honestly cannot fathom how we live in a world where they'll make a Jawa and a Gonk droid, but they will not make a C-3PO. Like, he's pretty much been in every medium of Star Wars so far. How do we not have a Hot Toy C-3PO? So him, they've kind of done in one way or another from a film pretty much every main character. I would like obscure versions of each character. Like, I would love a what was that as?
Ventress.
Oh, I would love a Ventress. That would be
Sideshow made one.
They
Did
did.
they?
I was thinking about picking up that Sideshow Ventress.
It's good.
Maybe.
I like that figure.
Yeah.
The good thing about that Ventress is it's basically like an alien type head, right? Like, it's that white skin with the black eyes. So you can get away with it, because sometimes with the older Sideshow stuff, like some of the older clones, sometimes the head sculpts can't quite capture what they're trying to. But with the aliens, like, I just picked up the Leia Bouche figure, the bounty hunter disguise version. There's no head sculpt, so you can't really it's a helmet. You can't really go wrong.
What about Savage?
Oh, I would love Savage. That would be amazing next to the Clone Wars Maul.
Be big, yeah. If he's 1/6, it'd have to be bigger than Maul and beefier than Maul.
That's why I don't think it's going to happen, because they'll need to do an all new
big
body.
Yeah.
I
can see happening.
I have Darth Malgus from Sideshow.
Oh yes,
that figure's pretty cool. I like that figure a lot.
He's got a ton of interesting materials that they used on the outfit, the rubber and whatnot. How's it holding up?
Mine's in good shape. You know, I used to have them sitting on my desk here, and it's in good shape. You know, nothing's happened to it. It hasn't, like the old Sideshow Ed 209 where the rubber would just split on the top.
Oh yes, I had to repair my I have the Hot Toys Ed 209, the second release version. So the first release somehow didn't crack, but then the Hot Toys, the second release, did. So I had to repair mine, which I think I did a pretty good job of. I hope. I mean, I can't really tell now if you're looking at it that it was completely destroyed. Like, it was a disaster. But it's pretty good now. I just Mod Podged the entire thing, and then layer of paint and a layer of sealant, and you wouldn't be able to tell.
Nice.
Oh, wow.
Jonathan Rose says, "Congrats on CollectorCon. I really enjoyed all the guests."
Thank you. Thank you.
Then
maybe you guys can come on CollectorCon 2021.
Wow. I'm there.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Glenn Taylor says, "If you order a Steve Trevor figure from Wonder Woman 84, do you have to order 2 since it's 2 guys? I'm confused."
When it's Handsome Man, then you have to pretend it's Steve Trevor.
I would love a Steve Trevor, though. In all seriousness, I would really like a Chris Pine from the Wonder Woman. Put it from the first.
Yeah. I want him in his army fatigues. That's what I want him in. In his army.
That would
fatigues.
be awesome.
No, that
Hopefully
would be great.
You could put him with the I don't know if you can see, but you could put him with the Wonder Woman. Maybe I've got a couple things in the way. The Wonder Woman with a cloak, that he wore. So you could
I
do
love
the
that Justice League Wonder Woman. I absolutely love. But now, having seen 84, and I'm a sucker for super bright colors. And now looking at the display, I'm like, they're just like, they're so dull. The colors of the outfit is so dull now. I'm like, please, I need that super vibrant Wonder Woman with the sculpted hair. Like, just release it, but it's going to be ages.
I've got them both. I've got the Kingdom Come armor one on pre-order as well. But I
golden armor
that on pre-order is the Gal Gadot head sculpt on that looks phenomenal.
Yeah,
it looks the best one to date by far.
Yep,
it does. And I do Kingdom Come, probably my favorite, one of my favorite miniseries. So I know that I'm not a fan. I think the film was awful, but I do like the thought that could have been Gal Gadot in Kingdom Come.
Yeah, no, I like that. I wish that Hot Toys would do like a whole Kingdom Come line, I love those figures. They made the Alex Ross DC directed the Kingdom Come figure, the little figures, but they're which are pretty great. But to get all of those Kingdom Come characters would be awesome with Hot Toys styling. I think that would be just amazing.
I wish that they continued they did a one-off for a toy fair, the comic concept version of Wonder Woman.
Right.
With the stars and the super vibrant red and the chrome and all that. I wish that they kept that going. Like, why did we not get a comic concept Superman and a comic concept Batman? At least complete the Trinity.
Well, did you get the fabrics? The fabric ones, the fabric Batman, the fabric Superman, fabric Wonder Woman, Flash. They did as well.
You mean that Sideshow did?
Yeah, the Sideshow did these like classic ones and fabric outfits, and they were just beautiful. So they did like a Joker and a Wonder Woman and a Superman and a Batman, and to me,
Wonder Woman I like. I don't know, the Batman I could never really get around. I keep seeing the guy Michael Shannon, General Zod. I keep seeing him in that head sculpt for some reason, and I'm like, doesn't do it for me. And the body was a little bit too slim, and then they put panel lines all over it. That's my number one thing. Like, if you're going to make a comic book faithful representation or a faithful representation of anything, like this may be just me speaking, but don't put your own spin on it. Like, just give us the thing. Just give us the thing. Like this, for instance. Sorry, as I reach off camera here. This, for instance, I just got sent the Studio Series Transformers 86. They're amazing releases, but I don't remember seeing the 86 movie and them being full of panel lines. Or did I just miss that? Like, they did really well with the engineering, but like, it's not what was, like, we're back to the old thing. Like, it's not what was in the movie.
No, and also I have to tell you, like, for me, like, I love the Spider-Man figures they're doing from the video game. Love them.
Oh, yes.
Like, I just got the 2099. I love my Scarlet Spider. But I look at these and I'm like, can they fit in with my other Hot Toys? Like, they're from a video game. Like, I like the Arkham, the Deathstroke figure's amazing, but it's like those figures are too video gamey.
Deathstroke. It's incredible.
Incredible figure. And then they've done things like this. The Hot Toys Assassin's Creed figure they did was really good. The Enzo.
They need to sort of go in their own area, I find, to sort of make it, like, you couldn't really kind of cross it over into the movie. I mean, I have in my display because I've run out of space. But I agree. Really? They kind of need to go in their own area, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, and I mean, the Spider-Mans you can get away with, because the Spider-Man 2099 and the Scarlet Spider, those are really cool. I mean, those
MCU suits were in the game.
Right. And so that stuff works. But, like, I couldn't put the Arkham figures. I mean, I maybe could put Terminator, Deathstroke. But that's just how I think. I mean, we all think alike. Like, man, can I put this next to Christian Bale's Batman? Can I?
I think that Deathstroke looks movie Deathstroke. I know it's the game. I know it's the Arkham game.
It's close, yeah.
The design is quite close.
Yeah. And he's done a head sculpt as Slade Wilson as well. So I'm I know we've just had this conversation. I'm going to sound like a massive hypocrite now, but I'm toying with the idea of getting the Slade Wilson head sculpt. To have it.
I've seen that head sculpt. It's pretty good.
The Joe Manganiello head sculpt? Yeah, why not? Let's see. Jonathan Rose says, thanks for doing that on my birthday. It was a nice gift. I think he's talking about CollectorCon. And
that's awesome.
And then Andrew Matthews says, Az wants a Steve Rogers for Wonder Woman. Is Justin related to Tobey Maguire? Do you get that a lot? Do you get that you look like Tobey Maguire, Justin?
Yeah, I get weird ones like that. Sometimes Tobey Maguire. There was one time where I was in Hong Kong and the guy was like, "Oh, you look like the Spider-Man guy." I was like, "Okay, thanks."
And he went Tobey Maguire and went, "No, the other one."
Actually, in Hong Kong before you were married, you could probably tread on that. Yes, I am Tobey Maguire. Come to my room
now. Oh God. Just recently, when I was in Hong Kong, I was recognized for the first time from my YouTube channel, which was quite surprising.
Wow.
Usually that doesn't happen. But I was in a toy store. Obviously, it makes sense. Where else would I have been recognized? This guy was like, "Hey, I'm such and such. I watch YouTube," and I was like, "Okay, that's awesome."
Yeah, no, it's listen, we've been on for like 2 hours and 15 minutes. I know it's New Year's Eve for you in Australia, right?
Yeah, although it is 9 o'clock in the morning and my wife is still asleep, so it's
that's
really
good.
All that exciting.
Thanks for getting up. I mean, we can still go. We're taking up, you're more. You got up and as it's late for you. For me, it's 2 o'clock.
I just want to chuck a couple of things at you if I can.
Yes.
Because I'm a video game fan as well. Okay, so although I've got these hot toys and 1-in-6s and stuff like that, I am a fan of like Kai Arts.
Oh yeah,
and of course back in the day it was Play Arts Kai and all this sort of stuff. Recently, I'm a massive Final Fantasy VII fan. Final Fantasy fan, I should say. Sorry. They recently started to release a bunch of Bring Arts Kai figures of the Final Fantasy IX characters. So, would you be interested in collecting something along the lines of this?
Wow, those look really nice.
And these, as you can see, come with various head sculpts, so you can, because these are going to come out. I've got them all now. I mean, this is just a little selection. I've got the others, Steiner and Dagger and Zidane. These are all of the main characters.
Wow, those are beautiful too.
From Final Fantasy IX. So these are all coming out, and they're going to get posed in the cabinets when they come out. But is that something that you could find yourself getting into?
I think video games are getting better, right? Like, there's no secret. More and more companies are starting to pay attention to video games, picking up the license. Hot Toys, for instance, they made very few video game characters back in the day. They made some Metal Gear Solid and some other various stuff. But now, like, it's almost as common to see an Arkham announcement or a PS4 Spidey announcement as it is to see a film character announcement, which is insane to think. And I think that it's only going to get more and more prevalent from here. We just saw Johnny Silverhand from Cyberpunk being announced.
Yeah.
Which is a great looking figure.
It's
it looks amazing.
Unfortunately, so I don't know to pick it up.
I don't know why they made it. Aside from the fact that the CEO of Hot Toys is a huge Keanu fan. He's obviously made, like, think about it, the standalone weird movie licenses that they made. Matrix, they made Neo. John Wick, they made John Wick. But they've made no other characters from those films. It's just Keanu. So it makes sense, I guess, that they're making Johnny Silverhand. But I wouldn't be surprised if the games do well next year or the year after, whenever they come out, the Rocksteady Arkham vs. Suicide Squad game. And what's that other Arkham game made by Warner Brothers Montreal? The Knights of Arkham or some rubbish like that with Robin and Batgirl and them in it. I wouldn't be surprised if we see those games as well. They've already established that they like doing the Arkham line. I wouldn't be surprised if we see more and more video game related merch. I'm all for it. Most of the time, if I'm playing a game, I don't really go in for just random games. I'll go in for something that's got a fully well-crafted experience type of thing, like Ghosts of Tsushima.
Right.
I love that game. Oh, that was such a good game. It was well designed from like everything down to something as simple as the UI. There's nothing on screen pretty much unless you're in a fight, and the wind takes you to where you're going. Like
where you want to go, yeah.
What? It's such a beautiful game. So I'm hoping we get figures aside from the smaller Figma ones. We're getting a 1/12 scale Jin Sakai. I'm hoping we get 1/6 scale ones. Maybe.
Yeah,
that was my game of the year. Was Ghost of Tsushima. It was
mine too.
From start to finish. It was just absorbed. I was just absorbed in, immediately assimilated into that universe, and it was crazy. Not just the UI, like I said, not just the gameplay, but the story, the characters, the visuals, everything about that game was just immense.
It was a all-around package. Like I finished Cyberpunk, which I only really bought it for my wife because she likes playing RPG type games. Like she loves Assassin's Creed and that sort of stuff. But usually when there's a game that doesn't do something quite right, like in Cyberpunk, a lot of the movement is very janky, and you can tell they didn't mocap everything because you can't see the character. It's just very robotic type of movement. And when you're in a firefight, you have to pause, go to the inventory, go through a couple of submenus, equip the new gun, then back out 5 times, then you can continue your firefight. It's like that, to me, like maybe that's a staple of RPG games, and I just don't play a lot, so I don't know. But that just doesn't feel like a good experience. Like it takes you out of the world. So I need a proper, all-around, well-crafted thing. So that's why Ghosts worked really nicely for me, because it was like everything, like story and even the movement of your character. Like obviously super important for a samurai game. You want to have everything mocapped really nicely by a proper, professional swordsman, and they did it well.
Yeah, really good.
Different enemies, switching stances to make sure that you're getting.
Yes.
Robert, last week I went like this, and I never showed. And the only reason why I did this is because, of course, you last week were bringing on the old big boy.
I brought my Hulkbuster out. I opened my Hulkbuster.
Oh,
this is my big boy.
Oh, is that Scorponok?
Scorponok.
Wow.
How big is he?
It's upside down, isn't it? For God's sake.
Yeah, there you go.
I don't know if you've seen.
Wow.
I don't know if you've seen Earthrise yet, but you'll be glad that you picked up Scorponok, I think.
Yeah, I've yet to see Earthrise. I saw, the first one. I've yet to see Earthrise. Looking forward to watching it. I quite enjoyed the first one. It's all right. But the figures.
The only thing I don't like is Prime's voice actor. Ugh, I can't.
Yeah,
I just hear Peter Cullen. I'm like Diana from Wonder Woman 84. I just hear Peter Cullen. I just hear you.
Yeah.
Like, I can't. Whoever they got to do him, he's like really angry for some reason. Like Prime doesn't get angry. Like Prime is like this stoic, he's just like screaming at people. It's like whoa, chill out.
So
it's Prime.
Jonathan Rowe sends in another super chat and says, "Today is my birthday. Thanks for doing this stream." And Danny Boy, this is a good question. You might know this, Justin. As Rob knows, I have the Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman, and Armor Suit Batman statues that came with the BVS Blu-rays. Yes, I have a copy of BVS with each statue. Do you know who made those statues? I couldn't find any info on the artwork.
They may be made by DC Direct / DC Collectibles. They changed the name a bunch of times.
Yeah.
They may be made by them. Otherwise, usually with those special edition type of things, like video game companies do it as well. Statues, they're usually made by smaller companies that literally just specialize in that. You probably won't find out specifically who made it unless it's on the box. Most of the time, it's just branded as the collector's prestige deluxe gold edition of whatever game that is. So it could be DC Direct, because I know they made statues based off BVS, but it may just be some random little company that tried their hand at making some statues. Maybe.
And that Andrew Matthews says that the Ghost of Tsushima statue is, he puts hashtag.
Yeah.
Who makes, is that a Prime 1 statue?
Yeah.
Oh, which armor is he wearing? Is he wearing his father's armor, or is it someone else? One of the other ones.
I'm trying to remember. It could be. I think he's wearing his house armor.
That's
Or it
the
could
hard
be
part for me. Is like
armor that he's wearing actually.
which I didn't really like the ghost armor, to be honest with you. I prefer his father's armor with the antlers.
Yeah. Let's have a. Just gonna. It is the ghost armor. Yeah.
Okay, I see. That's the hard part about, like, say for instance we get a 6 scale figure, which I would be surprised if we didn't, based off the showing for Last Samurai. We've gotten a bunch of figures. Which armor would they do? Hopefully all of them, but I don't know which one would I prefer. It's a tough question.
This figure though, this figure is dope. The DX bonus version is awesome. That I'm looking at now. I mean,
yeah. It's just
now I need to look it up. All of us are going to be looking up this.
Yeah, we're all looking at the here. You can't. I can't screen share with this guy.
Here, I can do it though. Here,
Yeah.
I'll put this up. These are these are really cool.
God, it's just so good.
Yeah, and then there's there's 2 different. I mean, this
I love the fox. Oh,
I know the fox on it as well, and
those little guys. I love patting the little foxes in the game. I know it's
yeah.
It's a nice touch.
Yeah, take you to the altar, pet the fox.
Let's see. Hang on.
That's awesome.
And the leaves, the beautiful leaves as well.
I'll throw these up. You've got the first. This is the first version here. This is it, and this is. I mean, this is so very cool. What a great statue. And now let me put up the. I'll put up the other version as well. And then there's the DX version, which is this is the DX version here. And wow, I mean, this is I wouldn't mind having this in my house. That wouldn't be bad to have. So yeah, it's great.
The YouTube video because I've just clicked onto it and it's like 7/8 complete. So yeah, I've already watched the. Oh my god!
Yeah. Wow.
Here, I think, can I drop a link in the chat?
You could. Well, listen, you guys, we were approaching 2.5 hours for this epic stream. This stream was even more epic than I thought it was going to be. And I can't, Justin, I can't thank you enough for coming on. Like as said, we're going to do like some one-off where we showed our toys, but it's been so much fun. This is our 4th show, right? Is that what you said, Az? Our 4th one?
Yeah. 2 on you, 2 on me.
Yeah. I mean, we should do this again. I feel like I feel like we should do maybe do a stream where we literally take our 5 favorite figures and we'll each trade off and go through and show why we love these figures, and really because I think that a lot of people they don't one of the things I like, Justin, about what you do is you really showcase the figure. You put them up, you show, you compare and contrast, and you really get a sense of what these figures are like. A lot of channels weren't doing as much as you do, and I really appreciated the fact that you'll pull out 3 different versions of the same figure and show us the differences, and I love that. So it'd be fun to just pull out, if we decided, okay, we're going to do Hot Toys now, or Transformers, or whatever it was we wanted to do, and each have our or everything, our top 5 figures.
Yeah, I mean, I picked up the Cody based off watching your video.
Yeah,
I think, when you were doing the comparisons against the Cody, and I was just how this one was much superior because of the reasons of the size of the helmet, size of the head sculpt, etc. And I watched that, and I was like, yeah, do you know what? That's kind of formulated my opinion now. Yeah, so I went off, and that's when I got my Cody. My Cody's over there doing Cody shit. So.
Well, something that you said as in the first video that I saw you guys chatting about the channel was, and a lot of people don't get this, is that you don't really care what my opinion is, and that's perfect. All I want to do is show you the thing, and then you can formulate your own opinion. I'll tell you what I think of it, sure, but like people in the comments are like, Justin, how dare you like this? It's terrible. I'm like, but does it affect you if I like something? Like, it has nothing to do with you. We all like what we like, and we all don't like what we don't like. Just because my opinion is different to someone else's is fine. So when you said that, I was like, see, someone gets it. You don't have to agree with my opinion. You can just, as long as you can see everything, then you can form your own opinion, and then that means it's been a successful video.
Yeah, if I watch a video and you're doing a figure which I'm not into, I don't think, Justin, what's he going on about, crazy fool?
Yeah, it's like, why do you like that? How dare you?
Yeah, he's put out all the accessories. He's shown the sculpt. He's shown the figure. You might show it comparative to others. And then my own opinion is, I'm not going to invest in that one. And that to me is, that is not a waste of time. That is valuable to me, because now I've watched something. I've watched something in depth. I've watched somebody take their time to show everything off, and I can formulate an opinion on whether or not I want to part with 250 quid for that figure. So to me, it's been a well worth experience. Whether or not you like it or not is irregardless of what I
right?
think. Yeah.
Well, let me ask you this, Justin. What do people usually like? To me, if a toy isn't perfect, I still, compared to what I used to get when I was a little kid, it's still pretty damn good. So like if I buy like a Redman Toys version of the girl from The Professional, because I've got my Enter Bay Leon from years ago, and the Matilda's not great. And I know it's not great, but I don't expect great from Redman Toys. I just like to have no one else has made a Matilda. What do people complain about usually? Like you said, there's a lot of negativity. When we first started talking, you said it was great to see you guys be so positive. Like for the most part,
there's a lot of stuff that a lot of people like to complain about. And I don't know if it's probably better to stay away from like the Hot Toys communities, because some of them can get really negative. Like you'll go on Hot Toys' own Facebook page, and under every announcement, there's like a slew of just crap that it's just like, that doesn't need to be there. But most of the time, complaints about head sculpts. They're not giving X accessory that I would have liked, but maybe it's not, like not integral to the thing itself, or they wanted a different like 2 head sculpts, or they wanted, why are you making this figure, why aren't you making this figure? But I always come into it as, yeah, sure, they're making this, but they could have made something else. Okay, but they didn't. They made the thing that's in front of me right here. Also, if there is not something that for the same price point and the same scale is better than this, then what exactly do I have to complain about?
Right. That's kind of the way I feel about it. I mean, there's, I've always wanted things that maybe are, like for me, the Ant-Man, when people are bitching about the Paul Rudd head sculpt, I'm like, I don't care, because I'm not going to use the Paul Rudd head sculpt. It's so what if it's goofy? Just give me a great Ant-Man figure, and that costume is great,
that opinion is pretty much exactly what I said in my video. I was never going to use that head sculpt anyway, but then people get really mad because they're like, oh, well, for $300, that's part of the package, and it should be perfect, and, that's how much we're paying, but then, like, they could have just imagine they didn't put it in. The price would have probably been the same.
Yeah.
Exactly the same. Yeah.
I agree. It should be the best that they can possibly do, but it's also not feasible to expect a figure like Ant-Man, which was already coming out later than it was supposed to, for them to keep doing revision after revision. At some point, the artist needs to put down the tools and be like, okay, this one might have been a miss. There's going to be another Ant-Man. Ant-Man 3 is coming, right?
Right.
Pretty sure Peyton Reed is still directing Ant-Man 3. I'm not sure. But I'm pretty sure Ant-Man 3 is coming. He's going to be seen again. You will get another Ant-Man figure. It's going to be fine. Don't worry about it. The same thing with the Mark 85. Most people who have Iron Man figures have more than one. Like you yourself said, Rob, you got about 6 die-cast Iron Man figures. You have a bunch of Tony Stark head sculpts. If the one that comes with this one, it doesn't work for you, you got more.
Right.
You've got other ones
to
choose from.
That's, I mean, to me, it's so funny too. Like, I thought I was done buying, like I told you, I was done buying Iron Patriots or War Machines. I'm like, I've got diecast War. I've even got the first iteration from Iron Man 2, the non-diecast War Machine. But when I saw that Infinity War Iron Patriot, I'm like, okay, I gotta have that. I mean,
I've seen him in person, and he's like huge. He's
Yeah.
a tank.
I can't wait. That they haven't started charging me for that yet, so I guess it's not coming anytime soon.
I'm pretty sure. No, actually, maybe not. Hang on, I've got a Hot Toys catalog from Japan in there that actually says the dates of when stuff is supposed to drop for Japan, and it's fairly accurate. Let me go grab it. I'll have a look if Iron Patriot is in there.
Glenn Taylor actually said. Well, I'll wait till Justin comes back to say this. But look at just everybody. Just gaze upon Justin's collection. I mean, that's just a sliver of his Hot Toys. My God.
I hate him, you know.
All right, let us have a look.
Let's see.
Yeah, here it is.
I'll not covet my neighbor's ass, but I am coveting all of the ass.
Apparently, you can't see it because it's tiny and it's around some Japanese characters, but there he is. Apparently, take this with a grain of salt, but they've been pretty accurate to date. January 2021, it says here.
Wow, okay.
And just to show that the track record of the catalog has been fairly good. Actually, some have been quicker than this. So the War Machine from Endgame, the Mark VI, says January 2021 as well, but that's already out. It's been out for a couple of months.
Yeah.
I got a feeling the Grand Moff, it's not Grand Moff, but just a Moff. I got a feeling that the Moff Gideon will be out next year. I think it's going to be out before 2022.
Yeah.
I hope so. Mando was supposed to be out in March of 2021. This is just the Durasteel, just the regular version, the brown costume one. He was out ages before that.
Yeah,
so
way early. Yeah.
We shall see what happens. Venom.
I mean, that
Pool, says,
I have downstairs.
Venom Pool is out here. You can get Venom Pool here.
Yeah. Here it says that it was supposed to be out 2020 in October. That's about right. That's kind of when it dropped. So the catalog so far has been pretty good. The Stealth Suit Spidey, November of 2020, that was about right. Maybe, first week of December. But yeah, I would expect to see Iron Patriot hopefully January, Feb. A little bit later, probably for Sideshow.
By the way, another Glenn Taylor sends in a super chat and says, Rob, first time I've got to watch this show. I like seeing you in your element. I look forward to the next time y'all get together. Great show. And Jonathan Rose says, Justin, you get a lot of crap, but I appreciate, and I know others do too.
Yeah, people, for some reason, the toy community is very spicy, let's just say.
I think it's so, it should be so, I mean, look, I've been complaining about
so
toys.
Chill, right?
Yeah, I've been complaining about my toys since I was 10 years old. There's not a whole lot to complain about what we're getting these days. I mean, it's pretty outstanding.
No, I mean,
there will always be something. There'll always be something.
We've based this show off showing our stuff, Yeah. I'll show you mine if you show me yours. And so this is a show that's actually based off love.
Right.
Yeah. Right. It's based off, we have it because we want it.
Yeah,
it's not a show based off, there's that, and I hate it, but I haven't bought it. No. That's not what this show's about. This show's been about, hey, this is the stuff we've collected. This is the reason why we've collected it. This is the love behind it, the idea behind it, whatever it may be. So the whole philosophy, I think this is the most positive show I've ever done in my life.
Yeah. I mean, it is.
This has just been very kind of like positive because it's about what we appreciate, what we really love, and why.
That's true, and that's why again, it boggles my mind that somebody would complain on your videos, Justin, because to me, they're just it's like being wrapped in joy, like being in the Nexus in Star Trek Generations. Watching your show is just one joyful experience after another.
Yeah, I can understand.
Thank you.
How dare you get it before me? I get that.
Well, yeah, that's like, God damn
That's
it.
what I feel every time I watch the videos.
I'm sorry.
What are you gonna do? It's not your fault. Well, I have to go do another stream So I think I will bring this to an end. But for those of you who have not checked out Justin's channel, it's called Justin's Collection. It's on YouTube. And how often do you drop videos, Justin?
I try to drop one a day.
Wow. Wow. Okay. And I would recommend. I love your collection videos where you showcase the entire collection. You just dropped one of those the other day.
I tried out a new technology this time. I filmed in 4K, 60 frames, and HDR. So 10-bit Dolby Vision HDR for the first time ever. I just watched it on the TV. I didn't watch the whole thing because I can't stand myself hearing myself speak. But I watched a little clip of it, and I have to say I was pretty impressed with the HDR. So
now, was that for a specific? Did you have a new camera to do that?
Yeah, so luckily, whenever I get a new iPhone is kind of the king of video, and to be able to film 4K in 60 frames with Dolby Vision from a phone and have 3 different lenses to choose from, I'm kind of like, that is just insane. So each year, I'm able to upgrade the quality, hopefully, of the videos. I don't know if anyone's noticed the actual reviews have been getting a little bit more punchier. The colors are a little bit sharper. But yeah, I wanted to test it out. I've never filmed anything in HDR before. Usually I just turn it back to SDR. But this time I thought, why not? There are a bunch of bright colors in here and bright lights, show a bit of depth. And I think it worked. I think it worked out. I don't know if you all have seen the video. What you think of the HDR?
I'll have to. Is that the collection video?
Yeah.
Yeah. It looks great. Now, is that the iPhone 12 you're using?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's definitely something to get involved in. And so as you have heel versus babyface on both Twitter and on YouTube.
Yeah, although I'm sort of closing my Twitter in about 1 day. I'm just gonna be sending it to private and getting off that platform. I just find Twitter just amazingly toxic.
I've never used Twitter before.
Yeah, I wouldn't send you that.
I'll stay away.
Yeah, so I'm going to be on Parler, so you can get me at heel versus babyface at Parler, which is a much kind of better designed for just mental health. So yeah, and then on YouTube, heel versus babyface as well. Thank you.
All right, and of course my channel. You're watching it now, so I don't have to explain. But yeah, I just want to warn everybody. I think Justin's channel should actually come with a warning label that says this might be hazardous to your pocketbook. And if you have a significant other, don't tell them that you're watching this channel.
Watching porn, yeah.
And you should get either a P.O. box or find out where your local package distributor has a pickup place. And remember not to send anything to your house.
Yeah.
If you can get found out.
Don't get caught, folks. Don't get caught.
Well, this has been a real privilege, Justin. I want to thank you for your time, especially on New Year's Day in Australia. And this is great. We should do this more often.
Yeah, definitely. Huge thank you to you guys for having me on. I'm happy to stream whenever. Just let me know.
All right. I like this idea. Maybe after the first of the year, we should do that. Like pick our 5 favorite Hot Toys figures, but the idea would be like why not just I love this character, but as a figure itself, so we can actually talk about the figures and the engineering and the paint apps and the clothing and all that. I mean, the accessories. I think that'd be a fun thing to do. I don't think anyone's ever done that before.
Yeah, I would love to do that. That'd be awesome. I'll hopefully once we move, I'll have a proper set up so I won't be streaming from my horrible potato webcam. I have cameras, but I just didn't have the time to properly set it up because you can't see, but all around me are moving boxes in this room. So
when are you moving?
We're moving on the 8th of Jan, and then we should be fully complete by the 15th because that's the day that because we sold our apartment. That's the day when the new owner takes possession of our apartment.
Oh, wow.
So we have to be fully moved in by the 15th of Jan. So I'm hoping to have everything set up, but I don't know if that's optimistic or not.
Not remotely stressful at all.
But it's going to take you another month to set up your case figures.
I don't know. It has to be done really pretty quick. So
I would fall. It would take me. It'd take me a month because I'd want to play with every figure. I'd have to repose.
It's hard. Repose. Yeah.
I'll get in there. And... Well, listen, gents, I think we'll bring this epic stream to an end. I want to thank everybody. I want to thank my moderators. Purple Valkyrie is actually here today.
Yes.
Justin Toner, Robert Pariso, Joshua Levesque. I don't know if the Richard is here, but I love my moderators. Thank you for moderating. I very much appreciate that. And I want to thank everybody for supporting the channel via super chats and tips, and also letters and things like that. I don't think I've had letters for fully articulated yet, but if we do, I'll pass those along. And I want to thank, we would be on Az's channel if we're going to do it next week. I don't know. But find us back on Heel versus Babyface, because I want to see that damn Battle of the Planets figure.
It's coming out next week.
Okay, I need to see it.
It's coming out next
And
week.
Justin, what's your next review going to be?
I can tell you, actually, because I filmed a couple in advance. Probably nothing too exciting. Actually, that's a lie. I'm not sure if you guys watch the series Playing with Peter, but I work with another content creator. His name's Peter Ton, and he makes some amazing posing videos. And I much prefer the way he speaks to the way I speak, but maybe that's because I don't like the way I sound. But anyway, there's a Posing with Peter Mandalorian posing special that's been uploaded, and that's ready to go. There will be a figure preview video of the classic suit Spidey. So I've got some in-person pics of the classic suit Spidey at Secret Base. And a 1-to-1 scale Iron Man Mark III faceplate that I just received. So those are the next ones that are coming up. It's actually quite nice, and the eyes light up and everything. So anyway, it looks good.
Well,
we're drawing over the classic Spider-Man.
Yeah,
the pics that I have. The Ryan out in Hong Kong takes all the pics in person at Secret Base, and he uses his amazing DSLR, and the pics are honestly really beautiful, like super crisp. So yes, I'll be doing that one.
So yeah.
That figure looks. I have to have that.
I have to have it too.
I know.
We all know the answer.
I shouldn't even say it at this point. There's no need. It'll be here. Don't worry.
Are you gonna get it?
I get so many comments. Are you getting X figure? And I'm like, don't even worry about it. Of course.
Well, gentlemen, on that note, a joyful stream that's almost 3 hours long. So 2 hours and 45 minutes, and we could go for another 2 hours and 45 minutes, I am sure. But I thank you all for being here, and I think we'll bring this lovely stream to an end. So thanks, everybody, for tuning into this. So now I've just ended our